seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
23 seconds left. 2-1 Panthers. Fans to their feet. Bouchard. Pass missed Draisaitl. Down to our right. Forsling in the corner. He'll try and hold this. 10 seconds left. 2-1 Panthers. A dream 30 years in the making is a reality. The Florida Panthers have won the Stanley Cup.
Excitement. The Florida Panthers win the Cup. But let's be honest, they avoid the worst collapse in sports history, too. So it's twofold.
Why do you have to go there?
It's congratulations to you. You also avoided becoming a humiliating laughingstock in all of sports. You raising the cup. That's a positive. Good morning, by the way. Maggie, great. Andrew Perloff.
Oh, congratulations. You just avoided becoming a humiliating laughingstock?
Yes. That would be, that's the true kick saving of beauty that happened last night. Congratulations to the Florida Panthers. It was nervous time in that third period. A flurry of shots, Perloff. You saw it. 7 minutes left in the third period was probably the best shot for McDavid and Hyman right in front of the net. Could not get it in. And then the last 3 minutes were some of the most exciting hockey I've ever seen in my life. And Sergei Bobrovsky, whether it was because he was good or lucky or whatever, he stopped the Oilers attack.
Yep.
And Florida Panthers are the champs.
How about when Bobrovsky lost his stick?
Oh, my God.
We're talking about nervous time. Like, I was actually thinking about, is he going to be able to use his hands? Like, if anybody gets a shot on goal. The only thing I'll disagree, the last 3 minutes was, you could feel the tiredness. It was so hard to watch the Oilers sort of try and gut through the end of the game. The interesting thing about this game, too, is what happened, and I'm curious what your thoughts are what happened to the momentum? Felt like Florida, scored early and kind of put the nerves behind them a little bit and was able to play their game, because whatever happened the last 3 games, it didn't seem like it was weighing on them on the ice the whole time.
Yeah, you're right.
They weren't as nervous as I kind of expected them to be. It felt like a normal game. And I guess that's because once you get the puck drops and you get out there and you're flying around, you can't think about the last 3 games. It seemed like I give them credit for not letting that potential collapse get in their head.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
They did score first. Edmonton scored pretty soon after that. So you end the first period tied 1-1. You get the goal in the second period from Florida, and it was all you needed. I mean, low scoring. Obviously, the defense was super tight on Connor McDavid. Now, 2 things to take away from this. Beyond just congratulations to Florida, they lost the Stanley Cup Final a year ago. That is excruciating to try to get back, even if they were, a bit of a out-of-nowhere story. Maybe not out of nowhere, but underdog story last year for sure. But you lose in the final. It's devastating. To be able to pick yourself back up, get back to the final, go up 3-0, allow that lead to slip away, go into a Game 7, but it is in your home ice, and then you do it. It's one of the all-time achievements. I mean, this could have been one of the great Game 7s of all time. This is being talked about as one of the great playoffs of all time, and maybe one of the greatest just NHL seasons wire-to-wire of all time. The 3-time Stanley Cup champion, Ken Daneyko, is going to join us later on in the show, and he can tell us whether we're right or wrong about that. But there are 2 big takeaways in this in terms of controversial things that happened yesterday. Number 1, you mentioned it. Are you allowed to be tired at any point in a Game 7? Is that okay? Because EJ shaking his head, absolutely not. This took an all-time max-out effort from Edmonton, especially in those final basically 10 minutes. And you could see by the time Perloff, it got to 90 seconds or so left in this game for everything. You're down 1 goal. Edmonton could barely skate.
Yeah, well, I don't understand what EJ's talking about here. Have you ever tried to skate for 90 seconds? This is like Usain Bolt running 7 100-meter dashes in a row. It's impossible. Like, this isn't a matter of will and effort. That's why they change lines so often in hockey. It's just an incredible pull on guy. We'll ask Daneyko. Like, there's no way. First of all, McDavid, I couldn't understand. Every time I was watching third period, he's still out there. He's still out there. He's still out there. Where were the other lines? I don't know if there was a couple rotation mistakes there, but I was not surprised at all that he was gassed by the end because it felt like they just were like desperate. They kept him out there. I do not fault them for this.
Well, is it also just a mismanagement then by the
Possibly.
coach?
I was wondering that.
I mean, they did take a timeout with, I think, about 1 minute, maybe about 1:45 left. I can't remember exactly. They took a timeout, but it didn't matter. I mean,
it didn't work.
No, they were still so just shot. And I think maybe it's worth a poll question, EJ. Is it an excuse to be tired with a minute left to go in Game 7 where you're down a goal? And you could see it even if you're a quote unquote casual, even to the naked eye. I mean, they just did not have the pop in their legs. Perloff is willing to, give a lot of grace for athletes being exhausted.
No. But
I think it's harder when it's Game 7 with a minute and a half left. It's not you and I. We get to sit on the couch and do it. We also don't get the glory and all the trappings that come with being a professional athlete. I'm very curious to hear what Daneyko has to say.
One thing, though, hockey is not a sport like other sports. It's nothing like basketball. It's nothing like football. It's certainly nothing like baseball. It is... There, you cannot skate continuously like you can. Like basketball, LeBron James is not coming off the court in the last 8 minutes of a finals game. Hockey does not work like that at all. It's a completely different system. They have to do the line changes because there's no human being who can skate at full speed for 3 minutes. It's just not part of the sport. Unless I could be wrong, but I've never seen it. Your legs and your lungs just do not do that.
EJ, unforgivable for you.
This conversation drives me crazy because I'm watching the game last night, and I'm not saying that the Oilers weren't tired. I just feel like when we keep running to this team was tired excuse, it takes so much away from the team that won. Like, I know Pacer fans probably feel that way about the Knicks. I know that, probably Celtic fans feel that way about people talking about the Mavs and Luka Doncic. And I'm sure Panther fans today who are like, hey, the Oilers went down 3-0 and had to fight all the way back. Guess what? That's their fault. They went down 3-0. This idea that because they get to the final minute and you say, well, the Oilers just lost because they ran out of gas and they had to come back from 3-0. Like, Sean McDonough, he did a fantastic job. I didn't need to hear that in the last minute of the game. Like, both of these teams are skating on the same ice. They're playing the same however many minutes, 60 minutes or in a hockey game. Leave the excuses about fatigue out of this completely.
Right.
Completely.
Well, it's true. He did mention having to get back out of this 0-3 hole was the mental aspect of it and the physical aspect. So
part
I think,
of the series.
So that's like one of the first questions in controversy is, are you allowed to, like, is being tired in a Game 7 at the very, very, very end of the game when you're trying to, feverishly tie this up, is that an excuse, a valid excuse? You can call us at 855-212-4227. Then you have the other slight controversy, maybe, and that's Connor McDavid winning the Conn Smythe, which is playoff MVP. Listen, I think he's obviously deserving of this. He's literally rewriting record books as he is playing in this postseason. When you're in the same conversation as Gretzky, when you pass Wayne Gretzky for playoff assists, when you're in the same conversation as Lemieux, this is all-time 1% of the 1% territory. However, McDavid also did not score in Game 6 and Game 7. And again, I don't think it's controversial necessarily, Perloff, that he got the award because I'm okay giving a postseason award even to somebody who didn't win the whole thing.
Well, I mean, of course you are. You're Team LeBron, and you feel like LeBron should have won a couple Finals MVP. Okay, I'm okay or not okay. This has no impact on Connor McDavid's legacy. This is a 0. And even it would have been with LeBron if he had won an MVP in a final. Nobody cares about winning an MVP in a losing series. All that people are going to remember is, did he win the cup or not? That's the only thing. It's a 0% importance to the legacy of Connor McDavid.
Okay, but here's the thing. We just saw Jerry West, may he rest in peace. He just passed away, and that is one of the things on his resume that people point to. He won,
and according to the show Winning Time, the HBO show about that Lakers team, he wanted to murder somebody when they gave him that MVP.
That was fictional,
he cared,
that show.
But also, too, I've heard Jerry West talk about, like, that is not something he's proud of. Like, he did not like that.
Okay, so here's what I would say about this. I think that it does add to the legacy of McDavid because I think it shows if you are going to give, again, it's all of the playoffs, by the way. It's not just the final. We know that hockey is unique in that way. But I think that if you win that award, even though you don't win, it's an acknowledgement that you did everything you could in a team sport. The team around you, you should get criticized for it. I think Connor McDavid actually should get a little criticism because he did not score in Game 7 and did not score in Game 6. Okay. I do think it's fine to give him the award. And I think it's fine to give someone an individual in a team sport and say, we're going to point you out and single you out in a positive way because you did all that you could do.
Nope. I think that's a terrible idea. Like the great teams, the teams that we worship, the teams that win everything are known for playing as a team. Like individual achievement is meaningless in a team sport at the end of the day. Patriots, 2001, they run out as a team. They don't do the pregame announcements like every other Super Bowl team before them. The Golden State Warriors, I know they have a star in Steph Curry, but they're known because they move the ball around the team so much. Great teams win. I think an individual acknowledgement in a team sport like this it's almost a negative. Like it's a highlight that he failed at this stage. The other thing, like you said, like it's an acknowledgement of the great players. The last guy to do it was 1976 Flyers legend Reggie Leach.
Yeah,
like
none of who wasn't a goalie.
Right. So it's not the last skater to do it.
Yeah.
It's not part of any other great player's legacy. Lemieux, Gretzky, none of those guys did this. I think anything, McDavid's probably like, oh God, why'd they make me have this label?
Well,
this is not what I want.
He did not come out to the ice to accept the award. Perloff was fine with that. I get it. Listen, I don't like to judge guys right in the moment. Your heart just got ripped out. Like, that's fine.
I don't want him to ruin the party for the Panthers either. That was all glee. Like, I'm not sure the Florida Panther fans would have booed him, but I'm not sure. I also think it's for them too. Like, they don't need to see an Oilers skate out on ice to get the Conn Smythe. It's bizarre. That's why you don't give it to him as well. I would not have given it to him.
No,
I really would have not voted for him.
Bobrovsky?
Yes, definitely.
I don't know. Bobrovsky was awesome, but also super shaky in the 3 games that they lost.
Yeah, but I'm going to ignore those and give it to him. I mean, find anyone. I don't like this. This is my universal rule. And Jerry West, honestly, like it's almost a negative. Like he's the guy who won the MVP in the finals that he couldn't win. He's known as a finals loser, Jerry West. That's like his most famous thing. It's like, oh my God, this guy came against the Celtics year in and year out and could not do it in the biggest moments. And it wasn't his fault. It was the team's fault. But,
exactly. And the award, giving him that award shows you this was not your fault, Jerry West. It was the team's fault. And I think for Connor McDavid, listen, again, I think you have to acknowledge, didn't score in Game 7. Didn't score in Game 6. However, he was basically breaking records for points in a postseason where he's now 4th all time behind 2 from Gretzky and 1 from Lemieux. The dude is out of his mind. Like he's so good.
But this is a sport where you have to win the cup. I mean, there's no doubt. Like it's got to happen, and I'm sure it will. But man, there's the pressure on this dude right now because that's
7 years in.
You're talking about Lemieux and you're talking about Gretzky and Crosby. Like you have to. He's got to win this cup. He cannot. Imagine he won his whole career, then he'd be the new Dan Marino. And like Dan Marino, as great a player as he was, he's everybody's favorite player. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you say Dan Marino?
Didn't win the Super Bowl. I mean, McDavid already has 3 MVPs though.
So what? If he does not win a title and he has 3 MVPs, it is bad news.
855-212-4227. So a couple things for you to chew on off of Stanley Cup Final last night. And the Florida Panthers win it all. But the tension here really about Connor McDavid and should he have gotten the Conn Smythe in the losing effort. Perloff hates that. And also the idea, can you blame fatigue in the final minute of a Game 7 in the NHL playoffs or any playoffs? EJ, you're saying just in postseasons, it doesn't matter.
It's just gotten out of hand. I almost think that in some ways, like us as sports viewers have gotten almost too smart. Like, it's like we now see the small things. The announcers see the small things. And, again, shout out to me, Dunne, because at least he is saying what is happening. We see the Oilers are clearly out of gas. But I think there's a problem. It's just like when you talk about a team had too many injuries or whatever. You can't use that as an excuse. The Florida Panthers played the same amount of minutes.
Yeah.
They play on the same ice. They don't have the Oilers weren't playing on weighted skates or anything. Like they're just as tired as the Oilers are. And I always think about one of my favorite Wayne Gretzky stories is him talking about when they lost to the Islanders in the Stanley Cup Finals. The Islanders went 4 in a row. And he said, we went into the locker room and, we were like, okay, we played hard. It was a good series or whatever. And he looked into the Islanders locker room, which he thought was going to be a big party. And he said he looked at them, and those guys were kind of muted. It was a muted celebration. They were clearly just exhausted guys, just like hovered over.
They had nothing left.
Yeah, and he said, you know what? For us to win, we got to get to that level. We have to get to that level of exhaustion if we're going to play at this high level. This is what a dynasty looks like. Now we're going the other side. Now we're saying the loser is the one that's all of a sudden playing harder and playing with so much fatigue and like they've overcome so much. And well, sorry, they just couldn't win because it was fatigue. No, how about maybe the Florida Panthers did what they were supposed to do? They took care of business. They put the Oilers in a tough position where they have to play all these guys all these minutes and come back from 0-3. That's part of hockey. That's part of sports. Don't give them that excuse. It's weak.
I don't think McDavid will want the excuse either.
No.
He listen, it's an interesting thing because he's not somebody who gets a lot of criticism.
Well, I honestly, I think you guys,
superstar.
I think you're both missing the story here. Because Sean McDonough said it. It's like McDavid was out the entire third period. Like he was just out there. Like the Panthers players, like they overplayed him. There's no doubt about it. Like
but
they
that's
should
a coaching conversation, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I know, and that's like that was brought up last night, and even McDonough hit it. I don't think it was the 7-game series. It's like they kept on. Like, dude, just you gotta when they pulled the goalie. Like, they had to have a fresh McDavid out there. Something went wrong. Their shifts were clearly wrong because at the last 2 minutes, it was a disaster.
855-212-4227. So that's a bit of what happened last night. Game 7 delivered for the NHL. We want to talk about it with you. Again, you can watch the show if you want. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. We say good morning to our affiliates who we love. Thank you so much for hanging with us on the free Odyssey app, which is crystal clear. You can download it, take it wherever you go. It's free. Sirius XM channel 158. Okay, we've got so much to do. We've got hockey for you. We've got JJ Redick being introduced as the Lakers head coach. That did not disappoint. It was full JJ. If you thought he was toning it down, yeah, he's not. Get to all the details. It's Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
There's nothing I love better than a championship dad. Welcome back to Maggie Perloff Show. Keith Kachuk, longtime NHL player, never won a cup, was the star last night in my mind because I had to live vicariously because my kids are completely ungifted in the athletic realm.
Oh my God.
I'm just gonna say,
no.
I mean, they're not as bad as Bogusch's kids, who has a great story, by the way.
God.
No, I'm just kidding.
Perloff showed up, pulled up to one little league game, and just will never allow Bogusch or his kid to forget it. You're such a tough critic.
So Keith Kachuk, the ultimate dad move. This is probably the ultimate dad move, and maybe people audio will get there someday. Mouthing the words to celebration after your son wins a championship, singing the whole "Cool in the Gang." He was singing the whole song, just screaming, celebrate, dancing like a good dad dance. It was awesome. I was so happy for him. And I was dreaming of I don't want to be on the ice. I no longer dream of being Connor McDavid. I now dream of being Keith Kachuk.
There's a lot of reasons why that's not going to happen. But I don't want to burst your bubble.
Well, I have a better chance to be Keith Kachuk than I ever did of being Connor McDavid. That was never happening. I was never going to be. First of all, if I could barely skate, lifting the cup over my head, I would die. It would fall on my head. So I'm in the crowd singing celebration.
I like that Keith Kachuk, who never won a cup, did raise the cup, though.
Oh, did he eventually raise the cup?
He did raise the cup. I didn't stay up for it. I just I heard this morning about it because it was late last night. But I'm okay. There's so much superstition around the cup. You can't touch it. You can't look at it. You can't sniff it if you haven't won. But I'm okay, even though Keith Kachuk didn't win. His kid wins. You should be able to lift the cup then. Absolutely.
The other meme that was going around, the picture after they won of Jason Tatum and Matthew Kachuk on the school bus. On the school bus, they went to the same high school. We're great friends. That is a good. That's a good pairing right now.
Been a good spring for both of those guys.
Good spring. That is really cool. So the stuff around the Kachuks was awesome last night.
And to be fair to Tatum and to Matthew Kachuk, I mean, coming off of last year, when this wasn't as cute of a story because the Celtics lost in a horrible way, after they had come back from being down 0-3 to the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. And obviously Matthew Kachuk lost last year in the Stanley Cup Finals. And that was sort of tragic. And now they get a much sunnier ending.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a great day for them. There is no sport that celebrates like hockey. It has just got a unique feel because of the cup.
I'm glad you brought up, though, being a sports parent because you had something that happened last night, which is not sports related, but is every parent sort of dream, not nightmare because your daughter's too young, but your daughter went to her 8th grade prom last night.
Okay. By the way,
she looks like she was going to the prom.
Yes.
She's so tall, beautiful, and looks like so much older than her age.
Couple questions.
Yeah.
Is an 8th grade prom a thing? We had an 8th grade dance. We didn't call it the prom. I feel like adding the word prom adds a lot of pressure. So you guys called the prom, EJ?
My middle school, they called it a prom, but we there weren't, like, I saw the picture you sent us. There were no gowns like that at my 8th grade prom.
Yeah.
Girls were wearing, like, jean skirts. Like, it was.
Oh, okay. A little more.
It was like a party.
Casual.
No,
Got it.
everybody put in the full effort like it was a real prom. All of my daughter's
It
friends.
looked like your daughter's wearing couture. I mean, she looked great.
Yeah, it's called Shein. It's this wholesale.
She makes it look great.
Yeah, unbelievable. But
Wait, so here's the thing, though. Yeah, we had a dance. It was like a semi-formal. But, like, what happened? Were you like, nervous? Because
I was super nervous. I mean,
it's the height of awkwardness in middle school dances.
It was, she did fine. She had a great time. She comes in, she goes, yeah, Dad, everybody was twerking, but I can't twerk. I was like,
Twerking.
yeah. And I said, what do you mean you can't twerk? She's just like, I don't have it in me. I just can't twerk. I'm like, knowing your genetics, I cannot do it. And I was actually wondering,
take the L for that.
I was actually wondering, Maggie, have you ever twerked? Could you twerk?
Have I ever twerked?
And would you twerk?
EJ's put his head in his head.
Apparently that's the style at her 8th grade is everybody twerks.
So
I'm not surprised, unfortunately.
I'm gonna do like I'm on the witness stand. I have no recollection of me twerking. I hope to all in heaven that there is not any video or photo of me even attempting this. But to
You
my
now know
recollection,
every friend that's listening to the show is not going through their phone to find the video or picture. Now they now said challenge accepted to that.
I keep my circle extremely tight. Those would not reach the light of day.
I will honestly say, if we find a video of Maggie twerking in the wild, I will probably happily retire from this industry. Just be like, I'm done. Like, what better could there possibly be than Maggie out there twerking?
I was gonna say, what's worse? Like, you'll have to go run away.
Just like, I would
Break
love
us
it. It's
up.
just like, you're like, this grainy video of a party, and then it just sort of focuses in. Wait, is that Maggie twerking?
At like someone's bar mitzvah. Yeah, no. I'm like Sasquatch. It's like, is that her? I don't know.
Lucy's had a great answer.
She's like big feet.
She's like, so I just sort of put my hands in the air and swayed back and forth and smiled a lot while everyone around me is twerking. She's like, it was really fun. I really was really proud of her for that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Did they play Not Like Us at the prom?
Oh, I'll find out.
We got to know that answer.
Yes, I'll find out. I'll find out quickly.
Amanda's wondering about that.
I would guess yes.
You have to, right? Even though it is 8th grade prom. I don't know.
Song of the summer.
What about the profanity level?
High.
I don't think people. Yeah, the profanity level's high. I don't
Well,
know.
it's 8th grade. I wonder if
grade-
the principals and the teachers are watching the profanity in the songs.
Unfortunately, this is New York City public school. I think you'll be fine. In that regard, I don't think they'll care.
What's the radio?
They actually want the unclean version, not the radio edit. Like, give us the real thing.
There is a radio edit, right?
No.
Yeah, I don't know if
People
they're-
have made radio edits, but I don't think there is. I don't think Kendrick Lamar made a radio edit though. So if you, I've heard edited versions of it, like at sporting events and stuff.
Yeah.
When the Chicago Sky beat the Fever, I thought it was interesting after the game. That's what they were playing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So right.
Shot.
And by the way, like you don't need all the words to get into that at all.
Not
Yeah,
at all.
that's a
the
great question.
hook is not like us. Not like us.
It's a little early.
Yeah.
Lucy she's gonna be super sensitive. She's like, you guys were talking about my prom? That's terrible.
She's asleep.
I mean, that's why I always try and focus on Bogusch's kids' baseball ventures. And by the way, you guys, he has a whopper from last night, is what the word on the street is.
Also, you disrespecting Bogusch's kid. Jack Bogusch is an all-star.
Oh, I'm very aware.
Jake, sorry. Jake.
Either way, it doesn't matter.
Jack, too. Jack would be an all-star. Jake
No,
is an all-star.
but
Don't disrespect Jack.
I mean, let's dive into the analytics.
Whatever his
though.
name is.
Let's dive. He's like Bradley Beal on the Wizards. His team around him, like he can put up a lot of points because everyone around him makes him look better.
Oh man, I thought
Yeah,
you
let's
said he's
see.
filthy rich. What?
Let's see what his OPS is if he went to a good team because I've seen the kids around Jake, not Jack.
So saying he's like on the Pirates, he's the one representative that gets sent to the All-Star game?
He'd be traded at the trade deadline, and then
He's Andrew McCutchen.
he's so Andrew McCutchen. I watched him play, and I'm like, wow, his style is game after Andrew McCutchen. Just like,
Just like a team style,
The
they game
hair.
after the Pirates.
by the way, Bogusch is a big hater on my claims that teams are tired, and that's an excuse for losing a title. Are you going to buy that in the hockey?
I turned the radio off when I heard. I don't know where this began. I don't know where it comes from. But I am never going to tell an athlete at the end of a season like that they shouldn't be tired. I don't know who said what. I don't know who's blaming or making excuses. But the amount of effort that those guys put in that sport in particular to get to the end is a level that we cannot comprehend.
But
you think that Edmonton not being able to skate basically in the last 90 seconds, that is a fine excuse for losing the Stanley Cup?
Well,
Or explanation.
To be honest, I did not hear the beginning of what you guys
We were wondering
saying.
Is this like, are you allowed to bring up fatigue? EJ thinks that this takes away from what the Panthers did. They skated the same amount of minutes, just to say that Edmonton, well, gosh, they just couldn't, they just ran out of gas, sort of takes away from what Florida did.
I think I understand the logic of don't stand up and say, hey, you're tired. But A, they're tired, and B, I also think, like the last time we had this conversation, it's like a throwaway line. It's just a thing, guy. We ran out of gas. It's such a cliche. I don't know that they really are trying to take any shot of anybody else. It's just what they say at the end of a game.
Well, you could see it. They could
because they're trying to win.
I just feel like I don't know why. It just feels like this postseason, whether it's been the NHL or the NBA, I know there have been some extreme examples. It just feels like we've now run almost every time when a team loses is, well, this team had a great season, but they just ran out of gas. And I just think at a certain point it becomes disrespectful to the team that won. Like, I heard it during the last minute, and I got to hear, oh, they had this great run. They were down 0-3, and now they're physically and mentally and emotionally exhausted. Like, it's Game 7. The Florida Panthers are also physically exhausted. They're also fighting like hell. Like, I don't need to hear that then. Like, you want to talk about this 2-3 weeks down the line, we say, hey, we look back on it, or it was probably ran out of gas. I think in the moment where the game just ends or during the game, we shouldn't be talking about fatigue and making that the story when the story should be about the Panthers. That's all I'm saying.
So that's a critique of the TV broadcast, not of the
commentary
Oilers.
About this series, because I'm not going to just put it on Sean, because that's the conversation we were having to start the show, and that's the conversation a lot of people were having. When we say how come the Oilers couldn't get it done, we kind of reserved to, well, they just kind of just didn't have enough in the tank. And it's like, no, they weren't good enough. That's why they didn't win.
Spencer's asking, will EJ be tired after his gassers punishment?
I'll be so exhausted, but I won't mention it. About it.
Don't say it.
Don't say it. Bogusch is here with headlines. By the way, you're welcome to weigh in on the Stanley Cup Final. 855-212-4227. What did you see? Are you okay with the fatigue factor? Are you okay with Connor McDavid winning Conn Smythe, even though they lost the cup? I'm fine with it. It's a playoff award. They're not there without him. He's amazing. Didn't score in Game 6, Game 7, but still, he's breaking records. And in the conversation with Gretzky and Lemieux, Perloff doesn't love this. He doesn't like anyone from the losing team getting a postseason award.
Yeah, and that's why it never, ever happens. I mean, it's happened how many times in team sports?
In team sports total, like probably 8 or something.
Yeah.
But in
6 in hockey.
Yeah, it's mostly goalies, but yes.
I mean, hockey, it's a little different because it's the entire playoffs, not the series, right? But it's happened. Chuck Howley in the NFL, Jerry West, and it's so rare, and it's just not a good look. You can't really celebrate it. He didn't get out on the ice. I would have just found a guy on the Panthers. Is that hard?
Jerry West won it Finals MVP as a loser and a Final Four MVP as a loser.
Yeah, and is that honestly, that tag is stuck with him. I don't think it's a positive thing for him.
So finding a guy on the team that one is better for optics than the guy that actually was the best player in the series.
I know you're criticizing what I'm saying.
Yes.
No, but Pete, this is really out of character for you because winners are winners and losers are losers.
Look,
You're
black
very
and white.
black and white about this.
Right, but you know what? It's
Give it to Sam Reinhart.
I don't know. For me, hockey's a little different.
We found the loophole.
No, hockey's a little different. Hockey's tougher. The playoffs are tougher. Everything about hockey in the playoffs is tough. It's beyond any other sport.
You think it's tougher than football?
Yes.
I also think that the Panthers hurt themselves here by not winning in 5 or less games.
Right.
Like the reason why he wins is because he gets them to Game 7.
Exactly.
If they win this 4 or 5, Bobrovsky is probably the Conn Smythe.
Yeah. What else is going on in the world?
All the headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your home and autos. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at Progressive.com. It is not just Sunrise, Florida, where they are screaming. They're also partying in Omaha and Knoxville.
The 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball swung on and missed. He is out. And for the first time in school history, the baseball national title has a home sweet home on Rocky Top.
Kevin Kugler, Westwood won. Tennessee holding off Texas A&M 6-5 to win the College Baseball World Series in Omaha. The next school year begins tomorrow. As Kugler said, it's the first title in program history, but the 5th in a row for the SEC. Now to Florida, where there is relief and jubilation this morning. The Panthers, yes, they're Stanley Cup champs for the first time, avoiding the second 0-3 collapse in final history. Paul Maurice's team finally stopping the Oiler recovery 2-1 in Game 7.
But there's nothing easy, so we needed to lose 3 in the finals to learn how to win 4. And the fact that it was so hard makes it so special.
And I believe that's courtesy of ESPN.
Saved his job, too.
Sam Reinhart scored the winner. Speaking of jobs, never mind.
Don't get on me.
It's too inside.
Agree with me.
Sam Reinhart scored the winner late in the second period. Sergei Bobrovsky, 23 saves. And again, Edmonton's Connor McDavid wins the Conn Smythe Trophy's playoff MVP in a losing effort. The 6th to do that, only the 2nd non-goalie. There were 3 last at-bat wins on the diamond last night. The Red Sox snuck past the Blue Jays 7-6 on Jarren Duran's RBI single bottom 9. The Padres scored 4 in the 10th for a 7-6 W over the Nationals. And the Cubs gave the Giants a win.
Miley, 3-1 pitch. It's ball 4. And the Giants, a much-needed win.
5-4, courtesy of a game-ending, bases-loaded walk on Giants radio. San Francisco scored 3 total in the 9th to snap a 5-game skid. Mets closer Edwin Diaz officially suspended 10 games for that sticky stuff violation Sunday night at Wrigley. He could still appeal, but no pitcher has won this appeal. While suspended, the Mets cannot fill Diaz's roster spot. Warriors GM Mike Dunleavy Jr. said again yesterday they want Klay Thompson back with free agency pending. The two sides have been able to negotiate a new deal since the finals ended, but there's been limited communication apparently.
The glutton for punishment.
And the Kansas City Chiefs have released D lineman Isaiah Buggs after a series of off-field issues this offseason. He is currently in jail after his bond was revoked on a domestic battery/burglary charge, which came on the heels of a misdemeanor animal cruelty charge against Buggs.
By the way, the Klay Thompson, did we ever get into him scrubbing his social media? I know we talked about it. I was wondering, he's 34. Did he need help with scrubbing his social media? Feels like this, like Klay is not super online. I felt like
that's harsh. I'm 33. I didn't know how to.
No, I'm just saying, like, it doesn't feel like a Klay Thompson move to scrub his social media. He's been there for forever. You know what I mean? It just felt like, wait, Klay Thompson is scrubbing his social media? It just felt out of character for me.
He doesn't know how to be an adult, so it makes sense.
What? Klay Thompson?
Ouch.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
He's like one of the most veteran players in the NBA. What's wrong with Klay? I've never heard anyone take a shot at that dude.
You just retracting it now? What happened there?
No.
Did you think we were talking about someone else?
I'm sorry. I'm tired. I thought you were talking about someone else.
Who'd you think we were talking about? Draymond?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes, Draymond scrubbing social media, I would get. But Klay Thompson, like...
I feel like Draymond could have invented scrubbing your social media, and I would believe that.
Right.
No, Klay, this was odd. And Draymond kind of poo-pooed it. He was like, this is just silly.
He laughed at it, right? I think he laughed for the same reason I am. It was like Klay Thompson scrubbing his social media of all people.
I think you want to get the point across. So I mean, how do I do this?
Yeah. Did you also see the headline that the Warriors are looking at Jordan Poole again?
No.
I didn't see that headline. No.
Oh, that would... I mean, I want to see Maggie twerking, and I want to see Jordan Poole in a Warriors uniform. That is
which is more likely?
Probably Jordan Poole.
There's your poll question for today. What's
that
more likely to happen?
That old poll question.
Oh yeah.
I think we already did that one last week.
I mean, Jordan Poole pouted his. I mean, could not have looked worse in Washington, and they're going to bring him back to Golden State.
That
can't be real.
I don't know.
Did Pete
was
tell
that
you
his
that?
worst look? When he got punched
This can't
in the face.
be a real headline. I've not seen that anywhere.
But there was literally no maturation in Washington.
No, he was awful.
Awful. And pouted and stomped his way, ignored huddles, and they're going to consider bringing him back? He should be kicked out of the NBA.
They're desperate. I saw the Paul George stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, that was a little different.
And by the way, since Perloff teased it, Jack Bogusch and his buddies beat a team last night 34-0.
See,
What?
all-star.
Yeah, all
It's like
stars.
football.
Wait a minute. 34-0.
A baseball game.
What? Who allowed that to happen?
It's a very long story. The team that they played last night probably should not have been in the tournament that we're in right now.
You think?
And
What was this, Bishop Sycamore? You know?
no, they would have killed us 34-0. That's how we played.
It's a
Like a
fake
diploma
school?
factory.
This is a fake program?
No, this is a 10U bracket for when they're older. What actually gets you to Williamsport? This is not. You don't go that far
Little League
at
World
this
Series,
age.
yeah.
But it's a 10U bracket, and this team was made of 8 and 9-year-olds, and our kids are all 10, and it was not.
Why don't they have a mercy rule?
Yeah.
They do, but you have to. First of all, you have to get 3 outs in an inning, and there was one inning where we scored 28 runs because they could not get an out.
28
and you have to,
I gotta
and
see
the other
proof
teams
here.
they have to bat 3 times before the mercy rule comes into effect.
How about the rule? How about a rule where you can't score 20 runs in an inning?
No, I mean, really, listen. If the long story short, the problem is you can't put this group of boys in this tournament. Like that was the initial mistake.
Another
Right.
problem.
That neighborhood did their whole group of kids dirty by doing it. This
Wait,
way.
do you have this is like Wilt's 100-point game. Like, do we have a box score?
Yeah.
Like, do you have the?
I can show it to you.
Yeah, Jack Bogusch should have held up his 10 for 12 and 13 RBI game. like Will Chandler holding the 100 paper.
How did Fred Bogusch do?
By the way, should a coach sort of call off the dogs in that sense?
Well, how do you need to get 3
See,
outs?
that
It's
was
not the
this
clock.
was the debate as
You know?
it was because the first inning was fine. It was 5-0 after the first inning. That happens in any game. And then when the second inning, I think like the first 11 kids didn't make an out, and we had scored like 9 runs, and like you stopped advancing on wild pitches, you stopped taking extra bases on wild throws, but like the kids can't go up and hit they can't hit left-handed if they're right-handed. They can't.
Yeah.
Like what are you supposed to do?
One thing I would make sure, I don't know, that's pretty bad. Maybe you just have a special, I don't know, exempt, like a special in case of emergency break glass situation of like, we're going to suspend the rules so that these kids don't get embarrassed. But I would hope that like parents stop cheering.
Yes.
Kids stop doing the, we want a pitcher, not a belly itcher type stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so the problem apparently became that like the kids were not. They were just like talking amongst themselves in the dugout. So then the coaches were mad that they like weren't paying attention anymore. It should never have been a thing. You can't lead 8-year-old boys into a slaughter playing against 10. That's a huge gap. 2 years.
Oh,
How much
definitely.
how much money was spent to get this team into the tournament in theory? Like, isn't that a lot of money to enter these kind of tournaments?
No, this is like an official Little League thing.
Okay.
So the only thing that we paid, we had to buy new uniforms. So you have
Okay.
to give everybody it's like an all-star uniform. I don't know what this Little League charged their people for the team. Maybe nothing.
$265.
No, thank God, it's not that.
Just kidding.
Chico bail bonds on the back.
I mean, seriously.
I played for a funeral home. Not all sponsors
Are
are
cool.
created
No.
equal.
Nope.
What are you going to do? Well, good job, Jack.
Jack and Jake.
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep saying Jack. This one is driving me crazy.
There you go.
One day there'll be respect.
I feel
around here.
bad. I feel bad.
So
for them.
not Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. That game a little different.
A little different.
Got a little more intel on the Jordan Poole report. We're gonna forget that ever happened.
We've had a bad,
Ball
we've had a
sack
rough
sports?
one here.
That's what I
NBA
was thinking.
Sentinel, and it went
Not
super viral.
Central.
It got like 14.6 million views, and I heard it on a podcast. The Warriors are interested in Jordan Poole via Jake L. Fisher.
Oh,
Right.
we know Jake Fisher.
Well,
Jake Fisher.
apparently Jake L. Fisher never wrote this.
That's good.
See, you got to block those accounts. That's the first thing I do. As soon as I see one of them, I just block it, so it never comes in my thing again.
But then apparently they are famous for getting everybody, because they had one about Tyler Hero yelling at Kawhi Leonard that was completely fake.
I remember that.
I remember that too.
I'm sorry, you got to give it up for genius fake accounts.
Ballsack was the best. Like they were making up stuff about Dennis Rodman and like KG. Nobody went back to check any of it.
What about that guy Barry?
I know. I realized what I just said. I'm sorry.
Oh, that.
I should have said Ballsack Sports.
It is a right.
Thank
but
you,
it is an
Bogusch.
outlet. Quote
Who's
unquote.
the 8-year-old now, Bogues? I shouldn't have said that.
What about that guy?
Did you dump that, Pete?
No, it was a name.
Wait,
I not dumped that.
It's the name of the account. And
Is that really what you said? That was what he reported?
No.
Oh, it just came out wrong.
It just came out.
Ah, okay.
There you go. All right. Lots happened there. We've got more. Thank you so much, Bogusch. See you guys on the phones. I want to talk about last night's Stanley Cup Final, Game 7. Congratulations, Florida Panthers. Also, an important meeting happened yesterday between one NFL team and their star player. We've got details from that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Panthers win the Stanley Cup. Edmonton comes all the way back from being down 0-3, but cannot finish out the reverse sweep. Connor McDavid wins the Conn Smythe for a playoff MVP, but in a losing effort. CT is in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Wants to compare Connor McDavid to LeBron James. Good morning, CT.
Hey, just want to say love what you guys do. Makes my commute manageable.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just was curious, is that blame more on the rest of the team or coaching in NBA versus hockey? And I also want to give the Hershey Bears a shout-out for winning last night.
There you go. Love it. So, like, you're saying when Connor McDavid comes up short, is that more on the team? And when LeBron James comes up short, it's more on LeBron?
Yeah, or Jokic, or any of the, predicted powerhouses that come up short.
CT, it certainly seems that way. And thank you for the phone call.
Let's go Bears.
go Hershey Bears. It seems like that, Perloff, because in basketball, it just feels like with, how the game is, one player can really take over in a way that's unique. And so those superstars, I think, wear the pressure. But again, I think you should point out that we did not see McDavid in the score sheet last night.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is this is a different sport. I mean, there's no way a basketball player is obviously going to be in the score sheet. Hockey, there's 4 lines. Basketball, LeBron's going to play 40 out of 48 minutes in a Game 7 or even more. So there's just no way to measure the impact against each other. I totally agree with that. Like, it's much more of a team sport. There's so many more guys who have to do stuff. Like, the fact that you couldn't really even pick out a potential MVP off the Panthers says a lot. Like, that was not a star-driven team. I mean, I assume Matthew Tkachuk, but it wasn't like, yeah, it's a team sport 100% more than basketball. Basketball, there are 5 guys, and one guy has the ball in his hand for half the time.
Okay, but, and I think someone else made this point, and it was a really good one on ESPN, which is that when Alexander Ovechkin was falling short, a lot of people were looking at Ovechkin and being like, you are failing in the postseason.
Yeah.
And McDavid has not really gotten any of that kind of criticism.
Oh, yeah, but it's still maybe not criticism, but it's certainly his label now. Like his not winning a cup is a big problem, right? He's 27. I just looked up.
Yeah,
like he's
9 years in.
He's got to win soon. I mean, I know. I'm not sure when the hockey players usually win. Like Jordan and LeBron won at 27, 28, but it's getting late early here for Connor McDavid.
That's your guy, Yogi Berra. I mean, the thing is, too, it's an uncertain future with Leon Draisaitl, who has always been like the Robin to the Batman of McDavid, even though Draisaitl himself has won a Hart Trophy. Yeah. The fact is he's going into the last year of his deal, and he's underpaid. He's making $8.5 million. Other guys at his stature are making $12.5, and he's 30. I believe he's 28. Excuse me, he might be 28. So he's good. He's been in the league for 10 years. He's going to want to get some kind of contract extension, and I don't think that it's going to happen with Edmonton. Also, I don't know if he would want to leave. There's a lot here between these two guys being all-time great players and not being able to win together. It's a terrible what if you're an Oiler fan.
Totally. I mean, Draisaitl obviously very, very rough postseason here.
Well, he's definitely hurt. But they won't say it because it's hockey. So you could basically be having like your leg detached from your body and nobody gets to put it on the injury report.
But it's funny, I'm not sure about this. It's still, even if Draisaitl leaves, like there's so much pressure on McDavid to win every year. I don't think anyone's going to use that as an excuse. I think it's the number one story coming into next season and every season.
I know, but do you see him getting flamed like this? Like, I don't see the big criticism with McDavid.
Well, who gets flamed for not winning a title? You're saying LeBron? Who was getting flamed?
Definitely. I mean, Jordan was before.
But I felt like when I have no idea. I don't remember Jordan. But like LeBron, like everyone knew his team stunk though. Like there was that part of it. Like nobody was killing him because he couldn't lead that Cavs to a title. They were terrible.
But then they killed him for leaving to go try to find greener pastures.
Yeah, because his pasture was too green. He went to a super team. But yeah, I'm not sure that people were killing those guys either.
Coming up, JJ Redick the Lakers. It's all happening. What did he have to say yesterday? We'll tell you.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Congrats again, Florida Panthers, Stanley Cup champions. Last night, Game 7, totally delivered. Exciting game, start to finish. I mean, flurry of shots at the end by Edmonton to try to even the score at 2-2, Perloff, but it falls short. And Florida, after surrendering a 3-0 lead in this series, does come out victorious. They avoid this awful collapse. And Edmonton has to pick up the pieces. Connor McDavid is your Conn Smythe winner, playoff MVP, even in a losing effort.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's happy right now. I didn't see any positive quotes about it. Did he ever say, I'm proud of winning this? I don't think that's a thing.
I believe the only quote he said was that this sucks. And then he walked away. Hockey people are not even that, sometimes not even great talkers when they win. But
yeah, and I think you should not be positive. Like, you can't pull any positive out of a team loss. Like, there's nothing good. If I was him, I would say, listen, I'm flattered. It's a great honor, but this is not what we wanted. And I'll put it, because if this is on his resume and happened with Jerry West, it's a negative. Like, he does not want to be reminded.
Way.
It totally is a negative.
Well, maybe for him, but like in terms of legacy, I think it's a positive because it's the only way that you can document truly without just talking about the game by game. It's the only way to document this person was the reason this team even got here, and they're not to blame.
I just think it has the word loser in it. Basically, he's going to go down in history as the second skater his second all time, right, to win the Conn Smythe in a losing effort. The word loser's in there. It's not a word you want with yourself. And this is Connor McDavid's in the Mount Rushmore conversation. Like, he's going to be judged by championships, not by Conn Smythe trophies. There's nothing else for him. So, unfortunately, he has to win it all. 27, man, this is getting to feel a little pressure. He better get his act together. It's not him, but
clearly,
he better.
That's what the award told you.
And even last night, by the way, just eyeballing him, and I'm obviously not don't consider myself a hockey expert. Didn't grow up playing hockey. He just looks different than everybody. Even last night, I know at the end he was exhausted. Just the way he moves and the way he handles the puck and the way he controls the puck, he's one of those rare guys that visually stands out from everybody else to me. When you see 97 and it's anywhere near the puck, all of a sudden, things get a little more exciting. Even though it didn't score last night, he was certainly in the mix, as you noted.
Yeah.
At the end, he is just, the fact that the Panthers held him off was pretty cool.
Yeah, there's just this sort of, I know hockey is not like other sports where there's like a bit of it's not random, but, you're never sure who really could be the hero. But with his chance in front of the net with 7 minutes left to go, like, that was it. And then there ended up being more shots on goal because Edmonton just had this onslaught in the last 3 minutes that Florida was able to fend off. But ultimately, star player, you're talking about Mount Rushmore, you have a Game 7, and couldn't deliver. 855-212-4227. But did everything he possibly could to get them there. Okay, so you're welcome to weigh in on the Stanley Cup. Also, the idea that Edmonton was tired is using that as an explanation or excuse for why they fell short. Is that disrespectful to the Florida Panthers, who did win the Cup? All right, that's what's going on the East Coast. On the West Coast, you have the LA Lakers introducing JJ Redick, Perloff, as their new head coach. And this is the full JJ Redick experience. So this was a 45-minute press conference where they were actually going to stop taking questions. And Rob Pelinka, the general manager, goes, no, let's keep the questions coming because people drove a long way to get here. Well, he may have wanted to cut those questions off because it was only around minute 40 that we get JJ Redick dropping an F-bomb in this press conference when he was asked about is he worried about the perception and his reputation outside of basketball?
I don't really have a great answer for your question because I really don't give a like, honestly. I want to coach the Lakers. I want to coach the team. I don't want to dispel anything. I don't. I want to become a great coach in the NBA, and I want to win championships, and I want my players to maximize their careers. That's all I care about.
Okay, so again, we're minute 40 something into the press conference, and you see Rob Pelinka, his demeanor completely changes. After that point, he wants to basically grab the microphone out of JJ's hand and, shove him into the back of a car and probably get him out of it. He was like looking around. He's like, are we going to cut him off now? I mean, Perloff, dropping F-bombs at your introductory press conference, is that a yay or a nay?
I'm going to lean yay. I don't know. It does show that if anything, there's any truth in this that he doesn't really care, which I don't believe, by the way, then that's a good thing. And I think one of the worries about JJ Redick is that he's kind of overly intellectual in a way. Like he's going to try and outthink the opponent and do kind of the things he talked about on the LeBron podcast, and that he's not, that it's too much of a dookie thing. Does that make sense? That he was going to try and outthink his way to this. This showed maybe there's a little grit there. Maybe. Because I think the lack of grit is the concern with JJ Redick.
Oh, yeah. When he uses words yesterday like, hey, guys, it's just math. I'm going to use math to win games. It's like, all right, we get it. You're not the only one doing it. The thing about JJ sometimes is he says it, and when he says it, Perloff, it's almost like it feels like he thinks this is an original thought, right? Like he's the first person to ever say I'm going to win on the margins. Like he's the first person to ever say, I saw this deficiency in the Lakers with their offensive rebounding, and we're going to need guys crashing from the corners. You don't think Kenny Atkinson saw that in his interview? You don't think James Borrego saw that in his interview? You don't think all these guys are all super smart? And somehow it feels like when JJ says it, well, now it's like, well, JJ said it. So he's the genius. And there was a corporate speak about this before the F-bomb. Yeah. A lot of corporate stuff, a lot of that classic sports thing where he's like, if you're thinking about the results, that's all wrong. It's got to be about the process. But at the same time, we're here to win a championship. All right, this double talk, double speak, corporate crap, or it's like athlete corporate, sports corporate. Trust the process. The process gets us there. Can't be worried about results, but we're also championship or bust. It's just all so silly. When it comes to the biggest star, though, on the team, which JJ, by the way, said this has got to be it's got to be a group effort. But we understand that obviously LeBron and AD are the most important people on the team, obviously. So let's hear cut 9, please, Amanda. JJ Redick did not consult LeBron at all during this coaching interview process.
He didn't provide any advice. LeBron and I did not talk about the Lakers' job until Thursday afternoon, about 30 minutes after I was offered the job.
Okay, let's stop it there.
That was very intentional on both our parts.
Can we isolate that? He says,
LeBron and I did not talk about the Lakers' job until Thursday afternoon.
Who is the person who gets caught on the hot mic?
My theory, because everyone got the feed from Spectrum Sportsnet in LA, that it's one of those analyst or host
back in the studio.
Yeah, I don't know who was doing the pre-interview. I don't want to throw out James Worthy out there. I know he does it. Maybe it was a Worthy or someone like that, or Byron Scott or whoever is the host of that.
You're saying someone not in the room?
No, because I don't think that someone would have reacted in the room if you hear a guy in the audience say, "Oh my God!"
Oh, okay.
So it couldn't have been someone there. I think that there's a hot mic in the studio, and somehow someone got caught.
How about a cameraman or a PA? I've seen many a cameraman.
Could be that too.
I've seen many a cameraman say things that get picked up on the mic. It's very funny.
Okay, but you've got to understand, that's unprofessional. Then, if you're a camera person or if you're a PA, a production assistant, which is low on the totem pole, okay, maybe an eye roll, but you can't go, come on. And basically call BS on not just the new coach, but the biggest star on the team.
And the fact that the person almost certainly works for the Lakers is hilarious too. Because again, I would bet a lot that it's not someone in that room.
Wait, can we play it again? I think it's in the room. I really think. I don't think it's from the remote. The way it sounds.
LeBron and I did not talk about the Lakers' job until Thursday afternoon.
Can't you hear an echo in the room? That is not
JJ,
from a
in the
studio.
longer cut, he doesn't stop talking. So again, if someone in the room yells, "Oh, come on," while you're talking about the most important question of the day, probably.
He's just more focused than us.
Right.
If someone said, "Oh, come on," I'd be like, "I'm sorry, what?"
He might not have heard it.
Because earlier in the press conference, he tried to make a joke again, he tried to make a joke about, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but I never coached before. And he tries to hold for applause, and he gets very spattering. So he was playing to the audience there at times.
That's true.
That time then he doesn't, and that situation doesn't make sense to me. We need to find this out. This is like the biggest mystery from this press conference. I by the way, looking for the cuts that I probably watched 5 different JJ Redick press conferences to find one that didn't have this thing. The fact that everyone that played it live, ESPN, everybody all had this same version of someone yelling, come on, as he says that he never talked to LeBron.
It's in the master cut. It's immortalized forever. Yeah, bro.
So we know a lot of, let's call Anthony Irwin, who was on the show last week. Someone's got to know who did it, right? I mean, who was in the room?
Oh, we got to find somebody who was in that room.
I mean, everybody was in the room, right?
Yeah, we know people who actually asked the questions because they identified themselves. Yeah. Joe Von Buha,
but then,
people.
Another thing, I haven't seen anybody who was there, and a lot of them have been talking about it. No one said when JJ Redick said this, there was an audible noise that came. Like, no one's mentioned it that was there. I've seen, several reporters who were covering yesterday that were there. None of them mentioned it. I feel like it had to be at that studio in wherever it is. El Segundo, I think it is.
So great. It's like, if you were wondering, does this sound right? It's like, they did not convince anybody. They didn't talk. And then this is the other part. Rob Pelinka. I don't know if we have this one about Rob Pelinka. Okay. So Rob Pelinka, the general manager, also says that LeBron was supportive of the process, but not involved. And then he goes, again, I'd like to say this one more time. LeBron was supportive, but not involved. I want to be intentional with my wording there. He did say, Perloff, that Anthony Davis was heavily involved. LeBron not being involved, like I never get it. I don't get it. You'll never be able to convince me that this is the smart way to do it when LeBron's gone through like 7 head coaches and they're trying to make a move that's going to appease him anyway. Yet he wants to be hands-off in the process.
Well, it's like a Godfather thing, right? Like he wants plausible deniability. He doesn't want to be responsible.
Right. And then I was thinking, not to be like too, like conspiracy, but I'm like, is Anthony Davis, whose same agency as LeBron, specifically asked out of New Orleans to play with LeBron, has won a title with LeBron. They do press conferences together basically after every game. Was AD just the proxy? Like, was he, quote unquote, heavily involved just to be like the, give LeBron that layer of removal?
Makes so much sense. So basically LeBron doesn't want to keep getting blamed for these coaches getting fired. So what a better way to use AD as the hitman.
But then it's just showing no confidence, because how about getting credited for the coach getting hired if you actually think he's the right guy? It's like we're only looking at it because LeBron might always be looking for a scapegoat with a coach, where you could be saying, listen, JJ is my guy, and I do think that he's the right person.
I think
get credit for plucking a diamond out of the rough here.
I think there's some internal politics here. I think Rob Pelinka has from the get-go wanted credit for this hire. I think he has been trying to present himself as the guy who runs the Lakers.
Well, they definitely offered the job to someone else.
Yeah. No, I think that was Pelinka's first choice. Don't you think, you're all into the Lakers press. Feel like Pelinka's trying to say, I hired JJ Redick, not LeBron.
Yeah,
it might not work, but that's.
Come on. Where's our guy?
Come on.
Come on.
Right,
come on.
Don't you think that there's some politics and some sort of optics here about all this where they don't, as we had, who is it who said last week, Anthony Irwin said that Linda Rambis was like, we're not going to openly give control our coach to somebody who is a LeBron puppet. They're concerned about this because there's a struggle between LeBron and the front office, right?
Yeah, they're also, the way that Pelinka phrased it was that JJ was part of, and I want to make sure I get this right, the Plan A pool of candidates. So as a whole, their Plan A was several people, and maybe that's what's a little wrong with the Lakers front office, because maybe your Plan A should be one person.
Well, by the way, JJ better outlast LeBron in L.A. I mean, LeBron is 40. How many more years? And he sort of hinted at retirement again this offseason. He's got one more. If JJ can't last past LeBron, that's a total disaster, right?
I mean, what's the over-under on any Laker coach lasting any amount of time? The last two guys have lasted 2 to 3 years.
Right, but if he lasts 2 years, LeBron can't possibly be playing 2 years from now, right? I mean, he's got Ham lasted 2 years. Like, that's the end of it. LeBron's not going to be here to fire another coach. This is the last coach LeBron will ever be around for.
I'm not putting any kind of limits on this. I'm not. No.
There's no way LeBron can play for another coach after this unless they fire him midseason.
Perloff, come on.
No way. They're not doing this again.
Also, there's a funny moment where JJ is talking about coaching LeBron. We'll get more into this in a little bit later about what he envisions for LeBron and what he envisions for Anthony Davis. And Rob Plank has to say, LeBron has a chance to opt out. Like, he had to remind the head coach the LeBron's contract situation is not exactly nailed down. Okay, so much more to do. You're welcome to weigh in, JJ Redick. Somebody in the room or in the studio was not buying that he didn't speak to LeBron. Pretty funny. Comedy all around.
Pete isn't buying it. He's raising his hand.
Were you the man, Pete? Were you on the hot mic?
Yeah, Pete flew over to L.A.
to
do some extra work.
Coming up, we have an update for you on something that's going to go down later this week. I feel like we need some kind of countdown clock on this doomsday clock. We'll give you the update on everything next. It's Maggie and Perloff, 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. We are wrapping up the Stanley Cup Final. Unfortunately, we did not have a bet to pay off on this.
I won money last night. Sorry, I didn't make
really?
Oh, sorry. No. I realized you're about to set something else up.
No.
But I did jump in. I made $11 last night.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're updating us that, and you've updated us on all the losing bets you had, Floyd Mayweather?
So I gave you guys that I'd lost like 6 or 7 bets in a row.
Yeah.
So I finally got a winner last night. I did, let me get it here. All right, you set up your other one.
Well, I'm just saying, like, the money is the reward, not bragging about it on air the next day, but that's besides the point.
Okay, so I did last night, Florida Panthers money line, but 3-way. So when you can have the money line with the tie included, boost your odds a little bit better. So I took the Florida Panthers, the 3-way money line, $5 bet, paid out $11.50.
So you made
rolling in dough.
You made $6.50.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Breakfast on me, guys.
But did you predict the Oilers were going to blow them away on the air yesterday?
Well, I saw the looks in the eyes during the skate around.
Oh my God!
And I changed my bet.
I wish I had gotten Maggie pinned down on a hockey bet because I definitely would have won that one. What would have been so we bet the NBA, actually Western Conference Finals, food from Minnesota, and what was the other?
Semifinals.
Semifinals, and then and then I doubled down.
Finals.
So Maggie had to eat a Minnesota food, and I would have had to eat some sort of Texas food. What would the Edmonton Denver food? Yeah. What would the Edmonton and Florida gross foods have been? Edmonton also probably would have been Rocky Mountain oysters.
I don't know.
Probably,
if that's
right?
Yeah, it's a huge cattle town. And then Florida, what's a gross Florida food? Some kind of alligator?
Yeah, probably some kind of gator, snake, something
yeah,
like
and
that.
you don't love gator. You've had it.
Oh, snake.
I could not. When I see those full gators at like LSU tailgates and stuff, like when I find that to be the grossest thing I've ever seen. I'm not good with reptiles.
But my wife's had an alligator dish at one of Emerald's restaurants in New Orleans.
Yeah.
That it's like in the thing. He's not bringing out a headless alligator. That might be okay.
Just knowing about it.
I've had many. If a barbecue expert does it right, it's amazing. I totally agree with you. Disagree, but snake sounds super gross. Can we make that our next food bet?
It's funny. I can't even imagine eating a snake, but I eat eel in my sushi.
There you go.
I know.
So snake is probably delicious.
I'm a fraud.
So, but meanwhile, it's way, way, way worse for you. What actually happened?
Yeah. Well,
Lutefisk. Because of Minnesota food, and it's not even normal lutefisk. It's really super gross lutefisk. I purchased the ingredients the other day, and here's what I purchased. 5 boxes of lime Jello, 4 cans of chunk light tuna. Didn't even get the solid white. A can of Spanish olives.
Oh, my God.
And should we give the twist yet?
It's up to you. I mean, there's still time. I tried to scour the internet to see if we could do this by the book way, but you can tell everybody. I don't know if it's going to change anything.
I think it actually changes things for the worse for Maggie Gray. The bet is she has to eat Rocky Mountain oysters as well. So I'm like, let's just suspend them in Jello, old school. And
yeah, it's definitely how they did it in the 50s.
I was shopping and I found a sardine-like can of smoked oysters. And if you put that in lime Jello, that sounds like the worst flavor combination of all time. And I don't think you can get through that without throwing up.
Okay, well, I agree. I'm not getting through any of this without throwing up, but it's not bull's testicles. It's an oyster. I don't know if that's going to bother people.
That we didn't pay it off. I mean, if they actually saw and smelled these smoked oysters, I think that would do the trick. So you're right. We could put it up to the audience. We could maybe put a poll in the YouTube chat or something. We can get some outside opinions on this one.
I know. There's still a few places that I can try to get to with the bull's testicles. It's just hard to find. Shockingly, it's hard to find in New York. I thought you could find anything here. Bull's testicles, turns out, a little bit challenging.
Well, I don't want them to be fried and deep fried or anything. They have to go into the Jello.
Right. And so that's hard. I went on this, there's a couple websites where you can get food flown in from all over the country.
Right, but it's fried,
there.
right?
Well, I got once some stone crabs. Why not bull's testicles? But again, it's impossible. I've looked. I'm not ducking this. I'm not dodging it. I can't find it.
Then again, I just think the combination of tuna and lime Jello is enough to make you sick for months.
The lasting impact that this is going to have on me is not small.
I will eat it. I love Jello and I love tuna fish. I'm totally down with this. I would eat lutefisk. I actually grew up, my mom is Norwegian, and we would have some of this stuff around. It was totally fine. And the best thing, I've told you about it, the best Norwegian dish is julekake.
Yeah.
You don't...
you keep trying to get me to eat that. I still don't know what it is.
It's
like a dessert, right?
I was going to pretend it was related to another part of a bowl. The julekake.
the caca?
No, it's a thin
out?
cookie that you put like ice cream into. It's amazing. Lutefisk is super gross, but I don't know. I'll eat it. Is anyone else going to take a bite of Maggie's lime Jello combo?
Nope.
EJ?
Sorry, I was still.
Your answer is no. Just say no.
Was a little challenging. Was the drop I was trying to grab while you were talking?
I will go. It's like I will match the charity contribution. Anything you eat, I will eat.
But we did not make a charitable component to this.
That's the only problem with our bets is I feel like Perloff puts us in bets that he would secretly have no problem doing.
Yeah, like driving to San Antonio.
Right.
That's why he's going to do it.
Yeah, we almost need, he needs to be like banned from like making.
Well, you guys got me on the hot wings, the Hot Ones challenge. I did not want to do.
Yeah,
that was terrifying.
That was brutal.
But I feel like you kind of enjoyed the chili. I feel like you like.
I was all about the chili.
The peanut butter.
You couldn't eat it with a spoon. Your whole face.
Peanut butter, I love.
Yeah, exactly. You got a little cocky trying to go for 2 jars, but
it's gonna be hard to get me on a food challenge. I will eat pretty much anything.
And we've already banned the
4 cheesesteaks in an hour. It's still floating out there.
I mean, challenge accepted, but we can't find the bull's testicles right now. I'm feeling people are not loving this. They think that it really should. James saying it's got to be bull balls, not oysters.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a good
fair.
point.
Okay, is that really is that consensus out there? Well,
yeah, some people like oysters. Like, I mean, my fiance loves oysters. So, like, for some, even though smoked oyster sounds a little weird, it might not be.
Jello.
Well, does your wife love it suspended in bright green Jello?
I'm sure she would not.
So I am holding up my end of the bargain here, which is I brought in the mold that you asked for.
Yes, thank you.
I've got that. So that's what I got.
Yeah, and are we worried we're going to put it in the pantry here on our floor that people are going to try and eat it?
No. that is the one thing, of all the things I'm worried about with this channel, that's the one thing I'm not worried about.
I don't think that
Boomer Esiason can come over and say, what's that?
What about the smell in the kitchen? Are we going to get complaints?
That is probably going to be a problem. That I am worried about. I'm worried about that. I'm worried about Maggie throwing up. I'm worried about whatever you make actually being edible. Like, I've never seen you cook anything, so I'm hoping that you like. If it's something that has to be cooked, I hope it is cooked through.
Well,
no, there's no
cooking. Okay, good.
You can't like cook. Also, cooking any seafood item in like an office kitchen is is a fireable.
You
thing.
can't do that. But I assume you would have prepared it before you got here.
No, we're gonna do it here so that we can document everything. Not that we could at home, but we can all be together.
Oh, my God. I'm looking at the picture of what the dish is online, and it is way worse than you actually see. We have to put the picture out on social again just to remind people. It's so much worse. Are you okay?
Mm-mm.
No,
I'm not okay. And I'm going to puke in here. And I just want everyone to know, and I did want to give our new boss, Ryan Hurley, a little bit of a heads up on what's going to happen. Now, the last time I puked in one of these studios is because I ate too much pizza at once trying to pay off a different bet. That was several years ago.
But you did finish the pizza, right?
I did finish it,
Okay.
and then I picked it up.
Pizza's your favorite food.
I know, but here's the thing. That was like 2 bosses ago, and they were not pleased that I vomited in the Mike Francesa studio. Like, that didn't go over well amongst everybody.
That's great.
So
In the early conversation with Ryan, I think he's a little concerned as well.
I think he's concerned about me vomiting. And, like, that's fair because I'm not going to be able to get to the door. I also have to be, like, hosting a radio show while this is all going on. So I can't just, like, be derelict to my duty, the first duty, which is...
Duty.
You're a child today. Maybe every day. But this is the problem. I think that Ryan, like, I don't want to surprise him on this one because, again, it didn't go over well 2 bosses ago. And I don't want him to be like, you're puking in the studio? Like, what's
Can I give
what's
a
wrong
bold
with
prediction
you?
here?
Yeah.
I think you will like it.
No.
I think that maybe like it is strong, but I think that you will say, this is not nearly as bad as I thought it would be. You'll have it like, oh, you know what? Okay, I can eat this.
Can I tell you how diametrically opposite this is going to go than that? No. It's 7:30 in the morning over here. To be eating this stuff at that time of day is also...
But to Perloff's point, like, it looks terrible. Anybody who's seen a picture, I don't know if Captain will put a picture on the stream. Every picture I find gets worse and worse. I feel like it may not taste nearly as bad as it looks. Is my theory.
Here's one problem, by the way. I know people don't want if there's a smoked oyster, the texture of that would make even the strongest stomach just vomit immediately.
That's going to make this a little complicated. Now, I told you guys, when I was in Switzerland, we stayed with a family friend who the husband is from Minnesota.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, you're the perfect person to talk about this. Like, what do you think? Like, is this first of all, is this a real dish? Mm-hmm. He said yes. I said, do people in Minnesota eat it? He said yes. Whoa. He says, how will this go? And he just laughed at you. He was like, ho, 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 she's in for something. Damn. This is going to be good. He's like, tell me when the stream is happening because I want to watch.
Oh, there you go. So it's going to happen on Thursday. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. If you're somebody who just listens to the show, that's fine. You're going to get the full experience just listening to the show. If you've always thought, I've been meaning to check out their live stream, what day should I do it? Well, maybe I could recommend Thursday.
Oh my God. I'm about to get sick right now. I'm looking at, there's a picture that's turned my stomach the wrong way.
It's on the stream right now. If you want to watch youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, it is gross.
I think somebody threw some cottage cheese into this one.
Oh my God. Bogusch, please, headlines, save us.
Did Amanda
so that's
just
happening
gag?
Thursday around, we're not exactly
I think
sure
Pete's going to be sick back here. He's just yelling random noises, seeing the picture.
Yeah.
That's so disgusting.
You sound like the animal that's supposed to supply the testicles for this.
Moo. What else is going on today?
Headlines. Proudly sponsored by Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, always putting clients' interests first. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Ballsack was the best.
In the end, there was no collapse at all. The Florida Panthers, with the ultimate gentleman's sweep, winning the first 3 games of the Stanley Cup Final, then letting the Oilers think they had a chance, giving them the next 3 games, then wrapping up the series in 7 last night.
Here's Reinhart up the right wing side. Reinhart to the right circle. A shot, and he scores! Sam Reinhart gives the Panthers a 2-1 lead here in Game 7. 4:49 to play here in the middle frame.
That was the scoring last night on Panthers radio. Sergei Bobrovsky made 23 total saves, some huge stops in the frantic final minutes. The 2-1 final, giving the Panthers the first cup in team history and keeping Canada without the cup since 1993. Oiler captain Connor McDavid picked as playoff MVP despite losing the series. His 42 points, the 4th most in a postseason. His 11 points in this series, the 2nd most ever in the final. Now, considering his recent Michael Phelps takedown, Perloff, you should apply for Australian citizenship. Those down under do not like USA swimming. It's the pool version of Michigan-Ohio State football. The current drama beginning with Aussie swimmer Kate Campbell talking some smack after last year's World Championships when her country won 8 more golds than the U.S.
When we're like right next to each other in the warm-up areas, the U.S. have this like infernal cowbell that they ring, and as someone leaves to go to the competition pool, they ring out, USA, USA, and I've never wanted to punch someone more.
This is Campbell on a TV interview in Canada. She added it was great to not hear the U.S. national anthem as often since our swimmers were not winning. Her interview recently played for Michael Phelps.
Somebody said that to me, I would lose it. I would literally make them eat every word they just said about me. Because people have done it. Chad Leclos, Thorpe.
It's Ian Thorpe, not Thor. Nerds.
I
Campbell.
literally make them eat their words.
Well, I don't think he knows what that means.
This is actually, watching Katie Ledecky destroy them is going to be so much more fun now. Honestly, screw Australia. It's a no-good penal colony that is totally useless. What the heck has Australia ever added to the world other than Foster's? I mean, get out of here.
Crocodile Dundee.
You call that a knife? Honestly, that was, the Infernal USA. You know what? Screw Australia. I cannot wait to see their faces. And Phelps is right. Remember, Ian Thorpe was always supposed to be a thing, and then he had no prayer?
The Torpedo? I do
Yeah, I
remember
mean,
him.
when Phelps got in the pool, forget it. Oh, we're going to destroy them now.
So you're back on Team Phelps.
I was
Team Olympics too.
I know.
You're
Program is
anti-swimming,
into this.
anti-Olympics, and
I know. I was laughing.
This is what you needed. Phelps was right.
My daughter is a swimmer. We were talking about Katie Ledecky winning the 1500 by 20 seconds. She goes, "That's 3 to 5 business days in swimming world." And it's the most. She is sitting there on the stream, staring honestly, like she was going to look at her watch.
Scrolling.
20 seconds.
Instagram.
It is one of the most dominant sporting accomplishments ever.
Unfortunately, she's dominating our own people because it's the trials.
Yeah, she is going. Well, I know it's her bus, and also I guess the Australians have owned the long distance ones. But I am now totally anti-Australia. Ben Simmons has already ruined the Sixers, and now they're coming after our swimmers.
Would you call it a no-good penal colony?
Yeah.
Wait, so Perloff was like, I'm not a huge Olympic person. You are been bitten by the bug. You are now, you've come in the last couple of days, even going back to last week, you asked me about Sha'Carri Richardson. Did I
just
see
how
that?
to pronounce it?
And did I watch it? You've been nonstop on Katie Ledecky. You're in. You're in.
A month ago, he kept wanting to talk about what's the deal with Team USA and Halliburton making the team. Remember, I think there were 3 days where he's like, "Can we get this in the show?"
I think my biggest disagreement, it's a little more EJ, but also partly you, Maggie. To claim that the Redeem Team is in the same sentence with the Dream Team, to me, is the most ridiculous Olympic take of all time.
Oh, it is.
They are you could not. So that's like me versus Jokic in basketball. There is no comparison. And I'll take Jokic down, by the way.
So
the Redeem Team is not a thing.
The Dream Team literally played against plumbers. Literally. Guys wanted Charles Barkley autographs on the free throw line. I mean, come on.
The Dream Team changes the shape of sports forever. The Redeem Team is a made-up name of they should have won anyway.
Well, what was the harder challenge? Anyway.
Harder challenge? There's no challenge. It was the Redeem Team. They had LeBron and Kobe Bryant. I would hope they'd win the gold.
They came in the bronze, though, the Olympics before.
LeBron lost.
Right, because that was Steph and Stephon Marbury, right?
Yeah.
LeBron was on that team.
At the end of the bench.
Yeah, at the end of the bench.
They didn't play.
I just think the Redeem Team is so minor. Whatever.
Okay.
That's the thing. And this men's Olympic team, this is not a story, right? Are we really taking this whole... Because they're going to win.
Are they? Have you seen Canada?
Did you watch the World Cup last year?
Yeah, that doesn't matter. They weren't trying. This is going to be a domination. Benedict Mathurin is still always hurt. I'm not scared of Canada.
So this is what was taking you off the Olympics, because now you're on in the Olympic sports, though. Forget basketball for a second. You're into track and field. You're into swimming. I feel like there's a gymnastics take in there somewhere.
Yeah, and it's really odd because you never change your stance on things.
No,
it's really
I
weird
generally don't like
Olympics.
that.
Definitely not a bandwagon.
No.
Not
You hate Olympic golf? That's the whole thing?
Always been track and field, always been gymnastics. After that, I think that we're being sold a bunch of... Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously, Friday and Saturday night, the prime time, yes, I want to watch that. We enjoy watching gymnastics as a family. But, I mean, Team USA basketball, for example, overhyped. I'm just not into it.
Okay. What about Olympic breakdancing? I thought you were into that.
Breakdancing is gigantic. I mean, anybody who's not into that...
So you basically like all of it.
Not an American.
Well, yeah, what don't I not like? Can you guys remind me?
No. We want you to stay on this bandwagon. We got about a month to talk about the Olympics soon.
I mean,
the commercialization of the Olympics does bother me.
All right, well,
I feel like there's a lot of corruption behind the scenes.
That's capitalism.
I've got some bad news for you about the NFL and every other professional sport because...
No, see, NFL is a professional league. They're claiming to be professional. They're not trying to hold themselves up on a soapbox as this model of athleticism.
All right, it's a little holier than thou. I get it with the Olympics, but they're not all amateurs. Kevin Durant he's made a penny or two.
Yeah, but there's still this the Olympic spirit and everything they're going to be selling in Visa commercials. That stuff nauseates me,
Yeah, but
as it should for every fan.
This is the one time these athletes get to cash in, get the
I'll
opportunity.
give you that.
That's fine with me.
I'll give you that.
For most of them. Anything else, folks?
Yes, the Cleveland Guardians now on a 6-game win streak. They won in Baltimore last night 3-2. The Cardinals beat the Braves 4-3. They've won 4 in a row, 9-12. And Tennessee won the College Baseball World Series 6-5 over Texas A&M in Omaha. The Vols lost the first game of the best-of-3 recover and now have the first national title in program history. And now I'm done. Back to you guys.
Bogusch, thank you so much. Coming up, one team trying to extend the dynasty. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Andrew Perloff's got a tale to tell. Thinks he's an Aussie, but you can never tell. Tries to talk like he's from down under, but his accent's thunder. Oh, what a wonder. Andrew makes you belong at the Outback. Not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G-Night. At the Outback Steakhouse, you'd be just right. Crikey, he says, but it sounds all wrong. Mixes kangaroos with a New York song. Crocodile Dundee would have a laugh if he heard our Andrew with his strange mishmash. Andrew makes you belong at the Outback. Not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G-Night. At the Outback Steakhouse, you'd be just right. Foster's in his hand, trying to fit in, but his mates back home just chuckle and grin. He should be slinging steaks, not slinging slang. In the kitchen's where he can really hang. Andrew makes you belong at the Outback. Not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G-Night. At the Outback Steakhouse, you'd be just right. So here's to Perloff, I wanna be Aussie. Andrew makes you belong.
The two biggest stars, Connor McDavid and Leon.
30 seconds remaining.
Town. Thinks he's an Aussie, but you can never tell. Tries to talk like he's from down under, but his accent's thunder. Oh, what a wonder. Andrew made you belong at the Outback. Not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G-Night at the Outback Steakhouse. You'd be just right. Crikey, he says, but it sounds all wrong.
Welcome back. Three-time Stanley Cup champion Ken Daneyko set to join us at the top of the hour. We'll get the former player's perspective on whether it's okay to point out that the Oilers were gassed, just flat out of gas at the end of the third period last night as they fall to the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup Final Game 7, an all-time Game 7. But is that taking away from Florida's accomplishment by just saying, well, Edmonton, they were just too tired at the end?
It wasn't just too tired. It's because they kept the front line out there the entire time because they were desperate. Was that a mistake? I will have to ask Ken Daneyko because I'm not sure. It did feel like they had no confidence in their latter lines, and they're like, McDavid, you have to do something. And it almost worked at the 7-minute mark. They got a bunch of shots on goal. At the very end, that was tough to watch because they couldn't do anything in the last 2 minutes once they pulled the goalie. But I think it's just a matter of they played McDavid way too much. And I understand. I think hockey fatigue is so different. I mean, when when you're at a match, it's amazing how much the guys come on and off and how fast because you're sprinting. It's not basketball. It's not football. And I guess I am a big I was tired excuse guy because I feel like I use that in my own life a lot.
The ultimate was when you said last year that the Philadelphia Eagles, after getting off to a 10-1 start,
they were gassed.
Suddenly started to feel the fatigue of last year's Super Bowl run, and that's why they
dry
finished
heat
up
in Arizona.
No, they had an insane schedule and they ran through it and they had no juice left after it.
The I'm tired excuse or the he got tired, she got tired excuse
has
been prevalent.
I mean, wait till you get older like me, Maggie. You don't have the legs you used to. Watch LeBron next year. You think LeBron's going to sustain this for 82 games and 17 playoff games? No way.
Well, it's okay because there is a solution for LeBron. Well, we pivot to that right now. JJ Redick yesterday talking about as he was introduced as the Lakers head coach. Might as well get into that conversation. So he was asked about his coaching philosophy and sort of what does he have in store for LeBron James. And let me see what cut this is because we're kind of doing this on the fly now. About LeBron shooting threes. EJ, which cut is that? Okay, so this is JJ Redick's plan to keep LeBron fresher.
Look, you have to certainly get buy-in and talk to him about how he wants to play. Him and I have joked about this, but he shot over 40% from three this year. I want him shooting threes. He's going to have his 3 or 4 bursts every game where he gets out in transition and does things that no one at his age should ever be able to do, but he does it. It's really just figuring out in the half court, putting him in different spots, both as a scorer and a facilitator. That'll be part of the conversation over the next couple months.
Okay.
Love it.
Tell me why.
Because it's going to save LeBron's legs because the 3-point line, if he's standing around the 3-point line, then he's not going to have to run back as far on defense. He's not going to go to the hoop and get banged around because I think LeBron's fatigue, again, back to fatigue, is going to be the biggest issue to hold back the Lakers. Can he do it at age 40 for the entire season and then into the playoffs? That seems like a really tall task. So you got to come up with a creative solution to help him. This sounds like the perfect idea to me.
Okay, but and I know we've been watching LeBron for a long time. When he starts settling for threes, I know he hit them at a nice clip last year, but he wasn't taking a ton of them. When he starts settling, it feels like for threes, it's the opponent's best hope. Because LeBron settling for threes will open the door for your opponent, where when he is constantly head down, driving to the hoop, he's still unstoppable, even at 40. I get it. It's a tough, not sustainable way to play. But I find that LeBron finds a way to save his body. I feel like he's kind of figured that out.
Did he last year? I don't know. I mean, how many years in LA has he either been hurt? I know they had the bubble title, but it's either been an injury or just sort of run out of steam. I don't think he's at full 100% by the end every year.
Can I tell you a little of what I thought happened last year, which is not going to happen this year? I think that LeBron, and maybe, again, I get a little conspiracy theory about this stuff. I think Adam Silver was very, definitely had a conversation with LeBron, I think, about the in-season tournament and how it was important for all the star players to buy in on this. And I think that we all thought it was kind of, well, EJ liked it, but we all thought it was like kind of silly, especially they would raise a banner for it. But I do think they were trying to get this buy-in, and LeBron was trying to be a good soldier here with the league to really take this really seriously. And remember what happened? They won that in-season tournament and went on this terrible, crater afterwards. I think they expended way too much energy in the middle of the year for nothing.
Well, it was the beginning of the year. That was November. Is that an excuse come May?
No, but I would say that's when you load manage if you can. Like, what? Who? They have November basketball?
Well, I mean, I think honestly, you can't really play LeBron full minutes in January, February, or March either. Like, you got to save him. I think if you look at the Lakers, honestly, that's maybe why I'm a little less into this Redick thing. Like, they have a couple major problems. I don't know if D'Angelo Russell's coming back, but you saw, teams are going to funnel the ball to him in a key moment because he will kill you and he'll either go off from three or kill you. The other thing is they're not big enough either. They're just not big. Look at the Nuggets, look at the T-Wolves, and look at the Mavericks, and probably the Thunder. I mean, they have 3 7-footers. Anthony Davis cannot do this alone. So I think that LeBron needs a lot more roster help. He needs another guy to take off this load. And I would love to have a Donovan Mitchell flying to the hoop while LeBron stands out by 3 by the 3-point line and saves his energy. Play some dad ball.
In the chat, EJ's basement spider. This is some inside joke with you guys.
Yeah, I remember that.
Says LeBron not being there near the lane makes it easier to defend the rim, get more defensive rebounds, wouldn't it? I mean, that's another interesting part of it. LeBron's presence when he's in the lane and what that means in terms of.
Wait, say it again. So him being out by the 3-point line affects what?
That it's easier to defend the rim
if you're the opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you still have Anthony Davis.
LeBron's rim attacks are
legendary.
The best. So if LeBron's standing up by 3, in theory, it'll be easier to defend the rim.
Yeah.
He can't do those rim attacks anymore. Every time he goes to rim, he gets bodied. Especially in the new NBA, the way they don't call stuff, he can't sustain that. It's not going to work.
No, I hear you, and you're right about a new NBA.
Yeah.
He still is LeBron. I mean, if anyone's going to get calls, you'd think it'd be him. But yes, it's a fair point. I just think you see LeBron James starting to settle for threes, and the other team's like, aha.
Yeah, they might be, but that's why you got to build a great team around LeBron.
Yep. Well, I mean, what kind of options do they have here?
And building a team around this version of LeBron that Pearl wants would be super different because before it's always been LeBron's the guy that attacks the rim. We put 3-point shooters around. That's why the Lakers have struggled so much because they haven't been able to find shooters around LeBron. Here, if you're saying LeBron's going to be essentially the shooter, and now we're going to have other guys we got built around, perhaps maybe it's built around an Anthony Davis low post game, and then maybe it's kickouts. But even then, who's posting up in 2024? It's a tricky balance to say, okay, now we're going to build this team a whole different way with LeBron. How do you fill out the rest of the roster to make that make sense?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I do think LeBron's a better shooter now. I just watching his form. He's really and I think that happens to some older players. He feels really for him, it's a bit of confidence matter too from 3, right? When he's feeling it. Forget it. He looked dead-eye last year to me. I think this is a good solution. And all the analytic podcast nerds are like, you got to shoot more threes. You got to shoot more threes. And JJ Redick's the king of that group now. So of course he wants more threes.
Guys, it's math. That's what he said. He's going to use math. It's math. We already know that Anthony Davis, by some reports, does not want to play center anymore. He wants to go back to being a power forward. Here was JJ Redick detailing how about using Anthony Davis on defense at the 5.
Anthony and I already had a conversation a week ago about some ideas, both offensively and defensively, and I think both of us felt really comfortable going forward with that sort of as the base starting point of how he's going to play on this team. And one of the things I brought up with him is just the idea of him as a hub. There's a bunch of guys at the 5 position in the NBA that sort of operate in that way. And I don't know that he's been used in that way and sort of maximize all of his abilities. So that's a simple thing with him.
There you go. JJ's got the answers. I don't know if Anthony Davis is going to be in on that, though.
That sounds okay.
Yeah, we'll
a hub?
see.
I don't know. Sounds good.
you.
Anthony Davis, 31, too. Like, how much energy does he have? He's going to get a little tired, too, Mag. We're all tired.
A thought on the Stanley Cup Final last night from someone who's hoisted the cup 3 times. Ken Daneyko is set to join us next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
We know on the radio, Andrew Perloff, he's got a show. He talks sports all day and he makes us laugh. But there's one word that just cracks us in half. When he talks about the woods and the creature within, he says it in a way that makes us all grin. Sasquatch, Sasquatch, oh how he says it wrong. Sasquatch, Sasquatch, it's the highlight of his song. With a twinkle in his eye and a smile on his face, Andrew Perloff says Sasquatch in his own special way. He debates the game with passion and fire, but when he says Sasquatch, we never tire. It's a mix of a chuckle and a joyful sound. Whenever he says it, laughter abounds. From the forest deep to the radio waves, Andrew's unique style is what we all crave. Sasquatch, Sasquatch, oh how he says it wrong. Maggie's got some giant feet, they're the talk of the town.
Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Here's Reinhart up the right wing side. Reinhart to the right circle. A shot, and he scores! Sam Reinhart gives the Panthers a 2-1 lead here in Game 7. 4:49 to play here in the middle frame. And Sam Reinhart out of the right circle gives the Panthers the lead.
Panthers radio, and that was the game winner. Sam Reinhart, who had been one of the guys, Perloff, that had been criticized in the 0-3 slide that allowed Edmonton to get back into this series at all. He had been criticized along with Carter Verhaeghe, along with Matthew Tkachuk, the stars of the Panthers, and they delivered last night. Florida Panthers win their very first Stanley Cup ever. And we've got a lot of questions that only a former player can answer for us this morning as the Panthers lift the cup. Ken Daneyko's won 3 Stanley Cups. Mr. Devil himself, NHL Network analyst. So good to get up early and join us this morning. Ken, thank you so much for the time. Sorry to wake you up early, but we needed your expertise on this, sir.
My pleasure. And I will tell you, Maddie, I've been on both sides, winning a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals and been part of losing a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals. So my heart broke for the Edmonton Oilers and jubilation for Florida, because when you feel that pain and when you feel that absolute euphoria, what a difference. What a different feeling. And the Panthers went through that back-to-back years, so they understand it as well. But it's gut-wrenching when you lose, and words can't describe it when you win.
Ken, we were talking coming into this to potentially blow a 3-0 lead. We were wondering if that would put so much extra pressure on the Panthers that they wouldn't be able to perform at their best. Were you surprised at all that they came out and really played like themselves?
Well, again, experience means something, and they had lost the cup last year, so you take all those experiences. You kind of throw a lot of the stats and what transpired the last 3 games out the window and look at what's in front of you. And one game, if we said that in September in training camp, to have an opportunity to fulfill our dream and hoist the Stanley Cup, you'd take it all day. And I think that's what Florida did. Look, at home, it makes a big difference. The Game 7s, during the playoffs, home ice advantage doesn't seem to be much of a thing anymore in the National Hockey League. But that's why Game 7s, a lot of times you see the home team have success. And let's not forget, there's a reason why there's only been one team, and that was back in 1942 during World War II. At the time, a team has come back from a 3-0 deficit. It's not easy to do. The Oilers played pretty well yesterday. They lost a tough, hard-fought 2-1 game, and that's what transpires because it's tough to get that break, that bounce. 4 games in a row, even though this was a series that really went back and forth. But so it probably doesn't surprise me Florida won, but there's sure some damn relief in Florida because you blow a 3-0 lead, well, it's an epic collapse that will go down in history. And the Florida Panthers, thank God for them, they didn't let that happen.
Ken Daneyko is joining us. NHL Network analyst, does a fantastic job, and these playoffs and this season has just been awesome for not only number 3, but everyone on the network. And I'm just curious, Ken, you've been on the right side of this 3 times, and as you mentioned, you've been on the tough side of this and losing a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Final. What regrets, if any, will the Edmonton Oilers have on how they played maybe the last, 7-10 minutes of that third period last night?
Well, a lot of times you have to just absorb it and let it soak in because I can tell you I was there last night with the Edmonton Oilers. I was there with the Florida Panthers, and it just brings back the memories and the devastation if you're the Oilers. And what regrets do you have? Well, look, you probably look at the first 3 games when you went down 3-0 and probably maybe shouldn't have been in that position because we know why it never happens. And it's happened once in history, coming back from 3-0. And also, you can't really have many regrets. The Oilers played hard, but I guess the only thing you'd say is, wow, we should have fired more pucks at the net, crashed the net. You think of every little thing individually and collectively you could do as a team. But they played their tail off. They came close in the third. Florida, different team when they have the lead. I mean, we saw prior the last 3 games where the Oilers had come back in the series. Florida's a defensive juggernaut and a structured team, but when they don't have the lead, and they didn't have the lead much in the previous 3 games, it's completely different. You got to open up. There's cracks. You're not as connected. You're trying to create offense. Well, when they defend, and they sat back a little bit, and they had to defend their own zone, made it very difficult for the Oilers to get anything toward Bobrovsky. And when they did, Bobrovsky, who was fantastic all playoffs until the last 3 games against the Oilers, where there was some leaks in his game as well as his team, was outstanding. So that's what transpires. It's devastating to lose. It's incredible when you win a game like that, and sometimes it's the slimmest of margins, or a lot of the time, and that's what it was yesterday.
How are the line changes different in, say, last night's third period? It felt like McDavid was out there a lot to me, and then he was exhausted by the end. Does the strategy change in the third period of a Game 7, and didn't the Oilers maybe make a mistake strategy-wise there?
Well, you know what? I'm not a coach. Maybe I should have been at one point just for the motivational factor. These guys have tough decisions to make at times, and I think you make a great point. You know, he's out there 25-plus minutes last night. When they're ahead, again, what I just had described and brought up, they don't have to get him out as much. But now you're chasing for that one goal. You need it. You want your best player in the world out there. And yeah, you saw it at the end. Him, Draisaitl, who looked like he was banged up in this series, had a little bit of a tough go in the Stanley Cup Finals. Players just play through so much through 4 grueling rounds. That's why it's the toughest trophy in sports to win. And he looked a little banged up. And McDavid, the gas was running out for sure. And that's because they had to put him out. I think he only played 18-plus minutes in Game 6, so they were able to give him breathers, give him a little bit of a break. And it makes a difference. When you're on the road, obviously, you fall behind. They get last change. Barkov gets out there consistently, and he did a great job throughout the playoffs. Barkov did against a lot of top players. McDavid had those 2 games, 8 points, where he put the Oilers on his back to get them back in it. But the last 2, give Panthers credit. They did a real good job on him, even though they lost Game 6. You know, they really held him to a minimum as far as creating and scoring. And like I said, always almost tied it at the end. I was hoping for OT. There's nothing like it, but certainly the Panthers weren't. But yeah, he was out there a lot, and maybe too much, no question about it. But what do? It's a double-edged sword. You want the best player in the world on the ice when you're down 2-1, and you get a long summer break afterwards.
Ken Daneyko is our guest. NHL Network analyst, does a fantastic job. 3 Stanley Cups, number 3's in the rafters. Mr. Devil himself, I'm sure you talk about this a lot, but you played against Wayne Gretzky, obviously, and that's who McDavid is getting compared to all the time. You're an analyst now watching McDavid, so what do you make of the Gretzky-McDavid comparisons?
Well, we talk about generational players a lot, right? And they just don't come around. Maybe sometimes we throw it around too loosely, but he's certainly one of those. He's just the mindset and the speed and the hands and everything working together. I don't think we've seen a player like him ever, maybe, or certainly in the last 2 decades. But having said that, coming from that era of Wayne Gretzky, I'm a believer still Wayne Gretzky is the greatest of all time and always will be, just because I don't think anybody thought the game like Wayne Gretzky and Connor McDavid. But he's special. It's a treat to watch him on a nightly basis. He's that good. But it shows you about, playoffs and guys that we continually throw accolades at and just are amazed at things they can do on a nightly basis, on an individual basis at times. It is such a team game because you just can't do it on your own. Because we mentioned the last 2 games, he did not put anything on the board, and everybody expects it every night. Well, you are still human, and sometimes other teams are just so razor-sharp focused on a certain player, and rightfully so. And a guy like Connor McDavid, I understand how frustrating it can get because, I mean, the second he gets the puck, he's got 3-4 guys, especially come playoff time, closing in on him. But the things he does wow you. And Wayne Gretzky himself, who's probably the most humble superstar and humble icon legend I've ever talked to, and I know him very well, says the guys are better today. Top to bottom, the players are better today. No question about it. And Connor McDavid, he'll tell you he does things that I could not do. That's what Gretz will say. I agree with that. And that's the speed and make plays and have it all connected. The brain, the hands, edge work, the feet together. Now, that's where I think he's probably the best player ever that I've seen as far as putting that all together. But, maybe I'm a little biased. I look at my era, and I want to give it a little love. For me, Wayne can say he's better. Wayne Gretzky, I don't think anybody's going to ever top Wayne Gretzky. Just like nobody will top Michael Jordan in basketball, maybe.
I totally agree.
Ken wants to get into that debate. We'll keep you all day.
Are you okay with Connor McDavid winning the Conn Smythe in a losing effort?
Interesting. I really, bantered this. I was talking to my wife late last night, and we were talking about it because it happened in 2003. My last season, grateful to go out on top, and Marty Brodeur, who had 3 shutouts in the Stanley Cup Finals, probably should have won the Conn Smythe, and J.S. Shigir, and nothing against him, of the Anaheim Ducks. The other netminder was probably the biggest reason why Anaheim, who was a Cinderella team, went to the Stanley Cup Finals and were there, and he won the Conn Smythe. So I don't always understand the theory. I know what the award says, and Gary explained it on the ice, Bettman on the ice explicitly, and it's about the best player in the playoffs. Was Connor McDavid the best player in the playoffs? Yes, probably. Would I alter that a little bit as far as definition at times? Maybe, because I just think it should be somebody from the winning team. And not just because they won and they're celebrating and you want your guy to win, but and you're in Florida's building. But, how bittersweet that is for Connor McDavid. He can't really enjoy it, can he? How's he going to enjoy the Conn Smythe? Certainly on the night where we didn't see him come out, and rightfully so. You are crushed. You're devastated. Your world's... I can't explain it to you, that feeling he's going through to get that close and to do what he did throughout those playoffs. And, it's remarkable to break Gretzky's assists in a playoff season or do all the things he did and the points that he had. But I'm just kind of a believer, just my opinion, it probably should go the Conn Smythe to the winning team, regardless who's the best player. And that's the double-edged sword, because that's how the award is defined, right, guys? But I'm just a believer that it probably should be a player on the winning team.
Ken, did anyone look happier than Keith Tkachuk last night?
Oh man, yeah, I battled him a lot too in front of that net. That was no fun, and it's not easy to win, and guys don't get that opportunity to win a Stanley Cup at times. Not just on them, sometimes right place, right time. Timing's everything. You got to get a bounce, a break, whatever it may be. Keith Tkachuk never had won a Stanley Cup, and so he's living that right now. And you saw the tears and how excited he was, and congratulations to him and his family, because that is such a wonderful family. And man, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree when you saw Matthew's brother Brady and Matthew winning his first cup, and you felt it. It was real how happy Brady was, and believe me. He's thinking in his mind, sitting there, man, I've got to do that one day. I have to do that one day. Hoist that Stanley Cup with a group of guys that you put everything into and just go to battle with every night to try to win that thing. But, yeah, you saw it. He was elated, and I love it. And the tears said it all. I mean, it really did. That's what it's about. You watch your son win the Stanley Cup, and he's going, well, I wasn't fortunate enough to win a cup in my time, and during my great playing career because he was an incredible player and tough as nails. But I get to enjoy it with my son, and sometimes that might even be sweeter than winning it yourself, I would imagine, because of it's his son and what we think of our kids.
Yep. Ken Daneyko lifted that cup 3 times. Mr. Devil, NHL Network analyst, does such a great job. And we ran out of time. Ken, next time we'll have to ask you about the Devils making this big trade for goalie Jacob Markstrom. We'll get to the Devils stuff a little bit later on in the offseason. But thanks again for doing this. We know it was a late night last night, but you're awesome for making time for us. Thank you.
My pleasure. All I'll tell you quickly, it can't get any worse, the goaltending, than it did last year, so it should help. That's a precursor for the next time, guys. Thanks for having me on.
There you go. Yeah, we'll do a Devils breakdown another time. Yeah, they made a big trade a couple days ago for a new goalie, and Ken's right. They needed some help there. Number 3 in the rafters, Mr. Devil himself, Ken Daneyko.
Okay, I think we raise an interesting question there.
Yeah.
If you had a choice, you're a father, would you rather win a Stanley Cup yourself or have your son win it? Like, you're given an ethical choice, and it's an honest moment. You're a really elite hockey player, and you often elite hockey players have kids who are hockey players. Obviously, there are a lot of family connections. Which would you do? Would you rather have your son have success, win an Emmy, let's say, or would you rather win it for yourself?
Thank you, Perloff. I have won an Emmy. It was local, but I did win one.
Oh, really? Actually, I didn't even know that. Congratulations.
Local Emmy. Thank you. This was over 10 years ago. No, I was a sideline reporter. I was a small part of that broadcast. But your kid.
You won a local Emmy as a Washington Wizards sideline? Or
No. Here in New York for high school sports.
Wow.
I know. Emmy winning.
I did not know. Where is it? Why isn't it hanging here?
Well, I don't have it.
Now I'm jealous because I'm Emmy
Wait, why did you have it?
My Gracie Award.
Why did you buy it?
I have a letter.
Now I'm just reminded of like the Emmy I got snubbed from.
It's not about us. Okay.
EJ, you got nominated for that?
Yeah, the documentary I did for New York One was nominated.
Oh, wow.
We lost close.
It was a political doc?
It was on. This was on, I believe, the summer of 2020, the protests in New York City.
Oh wow!
So we did a documentary on it, and we did not win. Now I'm jealous because Maggie has an Emmy, I don't.
Well, it was a while ago.
Yeah, someone here was nominated 5 times for a national Emmy.
I know.
Yeah.
And I actually would have gotten to go on stage.
I'm surprised you didn't bring it up. Again, not about
I just brought it up. Yeah, but that's being said, is it you or your kid?
The answer is your kid.
But is it really though? Is that just the right thing to say, or is it?
It's the right thing to say, or it's the right answer.
It's the right.
It really is your son or daughter.
It's
but when you're 25 and you're an athlete, you don't have a kid yet. You can't. It's all
different. Yeah, it's different than I think. There's a lot of if you're a great athlete, and your son or daughter becomes another athlete, they're gonna have so much pressure on them to live up to what you set forward.
But it rarely happens. Like the greats of all time, their kids are not quite as good. So it's usually the mid-level guys who have Kobe Bryant's dad and Steph Curry's dad. So the greats, except in hockey, there's a little more history, like the Hows.
Right. I think to Pete's point, you'd probably just be so relieved that no one could ever say your kid didn't live up to, the potential or, can get out of your shadow. Like, I bet Keith Tkachuk, a lot of it is he's, so happy that his kid doesn't have the same type of pressure that he probably felt. Like, he's got the monkey off his back.
Right, but if you're Connor McDavid and you were given this choice tomorrow, it'd be hard to say my son.
I don't think he has any kids, does he?
I have no idea,
Yeah,
but
right.
I'm just saying, like, in the moment, like, Connor McDavid doesn't want to wear that label as a great player who doesn't win. That's a hard one to wear.
Question, EJ?
Yeah, I mean, listen.
What's your answer?
No, I think my kid, but I wonder if you ask LeBron in an honest moment.
Would he rather have a 5th or Bronny get drafted in the first round?
No. Or Bronny be an all-star player. I think he would say Bronny. He seems pretty invested in Bronny.
I mean, he's basically getting Bronny into the league.
Yeah, he's basically a full-time sports dad who asks his side. His side job is NBA player now, and he's also like Bryce has a lot of potential. I would put my eggs in that basket, to be totally honest.
He talks a ton about the dad title meaning a lot to him. LeBron Jr. meant a lot to him. Like, LeBron would probably go with Bronny.
And there are these rumors that he's going to travel to Bronny's game. Well, now they might be on the same team, but that's
might
a big...
be.
Yeah. Yeah, the odds shifted to heavily favored to become a Laker.
Yeah.
How much money can I win on that?
Well, Rich Paul said that the random Team X really likes Bronny.
Biggie says the Mannings made Daddy really happy. I mean, Archie got to live that.
Yeah, but Archie's career was a huge disappointment. It would have been nice to actually get to the playoffs.
But he got to live vicariously through his kids 4 different times, winning,
I hear you. Three in one asterisk.
Yeah.
The 2015 Broncos.
I'm not sure that Perloff's telling the truth.
No. Well, my kids aren't athletes, so...
My kid's 5, but he's not an athlete either. Pete's kids are like 4 and 2. 1.
Yeah. So what if Bronny was just had no chance? Then Bron might as well take the 5th title.
It's a tricky one.
Truth serum.
I feel like there are a lot of people who would take. I don't think anyone on the show. I think there are people who would say, "Oh, definitely my kid," that don't actually believe that. That's what I think.
I know some dynamics where fathers and mothers actually get jealous of their kids. I've heard of that.
That is
a lot of Hollywood
a real
podcasts.
Oh, that sounds brutal.
I mean, that's even forget about Hollywood achievement, athletic achievement. That's just life where parents get envious of their children for whatever reason, for the life they've built or whatever.
That's so weak.
Oh, man,
it is, I know,
hard.
but that's a real thing, and I think that there are people who I think everyone will probably say the right thing. There are certainly people who I think would not feel that way.
You should want them to do better than you.
Absolutely,
you're setting them up for when you are, in the heavens. So you want them to be ready for life without you.
On this note, we have to take a break. I have to tell you on the other side a lecture that I got from my daughter about yesterday's show, about the Maggie and Perloff show yesterday. She let me have it.
Your daughter let you
My
have
daughter, she gets all our clips on TikTok, and she said, "This is not cool, Dad."
Whoa. All right. What did we say that crossed the line? According to
Cross
Lucy
the line,
Perloff?
yeah. She said,
Is it a we thing
never
or is
again.
It a he thing?
More of a me thing.
I might have an
fine.
idea what this was. 855-212-4227. Again, big thank you, Ken Daneyko from NHL Network and 3-time Stanley Cup champion who joined us. All right, why did Perloff get admonished by his teenage daughter? Find out next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
The anthem of the game, Maggie and Perloff.
4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining.
Believe Bilatti's got something to say. Infinity's mice. He's feeling the dismay. No NBA on NBC. What a shame. Just JJ Redick's wine ain't the same. Peter Bellotti is getting upset. Maggie Perloff, can you hear his plea? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Set his spirit free. He misses Co-stars and the crew. Those were the days. Pete cries out boo, boo. Bring it back, or can't you see? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Let it be. Pete's mad, he's feeling sad. Bring it back, oh make it right.
Welcome back to Maggie Perloff. Got in a little trouble yesterday in the household.
Uh-oh.
So on yesterday's show, we were talking about Bill Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend.
Right.
Bill Belichick's 72. I was quite judgmental of the whole thing, and I think I messed up because I was judgmental of her. She's a philosophy major at Bridgewater State. I made fun of that because but it really was, I would make fun of
You were being tongue-in-cheek.
male or female. No, I would make fun of any philosophy major because you're asking to be made fun of if you're a philosophy major in the year 2024. Like, what does that mean? So you're going to impress someone at a cocktail party? Anyway,
Or on
that
a
was...
flight.
And also, too, I was wondering, what is her incentive to date Bill Belichick? I am not necessarily against the age gap, but dating Bill Belichick? I mean, of all the human beings on planet Earth, he's got to be the last person I would want to date.
Yeah, you were not offended by the age. You were offended by the choice
Right.
of personality.
If she had dated Pete Carroll, I think we'd all be like, I mean, Pete Carroll was happily married, I think, but that'd be like, yes, now that is a positive relationship. She's dating Bill Belichick. Pete Carroll will be like chewing gum. I think he's 72 as well. He's awesome.
He's older than Belichick. He's the oldest coach in the NFL.
Well, he was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Pete Carroll, that'd be great. So I was anti her, and also, too, just the whole New England, it's got into the whole Patriots dynasty. I didn't like anything about it.
And your daughter said your daughter hated this.
This guy on TikTok, I called her a nerd, and my daughter's like, what right do you have to say any of that? Like, you are an old creeper insulting this woman. I was like, I wouldn't say anything creepy. She's like, she's 24. She has a right to make her own choices. And she says to me, if I married a 72-year-old, would you say this to me? And I'm like, no, of course not. I would support whatever your decision is. She's like, you better do that. She's like, you have
She's 13, by the way.
She's 13. She says, you have no say. And I'm like, well, are you going to marry for money over love? And she's like, if I do, you better not say anything. And yes, I am going to marry for money.
Goodness. She's got it all mapped out.
Oh, yeah. She, she.
Was before or after the prom?
I have
Great
two
question.
kids. One's obsessed with money and one has no idea it even exists. For some reason.
Kids are different, yeah.
Yeah. Lucy, who's 13, who's been in the studio, she's like, really wants to be rich.
Okay, do you think that what's the other difference about these two young girls, right?
One's 13, one's the older sister, one's the younger sister? What?
Well, you talk about how you would beg your children to watch TV with you because all they want to do is watch TikTok.
Right.
Don't you think that social media definitely reinforces like being rich, having stuff?
Mm.
And I don't know if Emma is the younger
The
one, if she's
12-year-old
on it as much.
She's not on TikTok. You're right. Oh, I did not make that connection.
It's all about, I'm in Italy. I have expensive makeup. I'm wearing cool clothes. I'm doing amazing things. Of course, she would want to think she needs money. Look at all the cool stuff out there to do.
She's been that way since she was 4 before TikTok. She said,
Degree is good.
She's a little
Wall
kid.
Street.
She said, Dad, my dream is I'm going to be a rich doctor and I'm going to be so rich I can have a studio apartment in Manhattan. And I kept saying to her, I don't know. I don't think you know what studio means. She meant like a loft, and she kept saying a studio apartment. I'm like, I think as a rich doctor, you'll be able to afford a 2-bedroom.
Are you sure? I'm not so sure about that.
Yes.
You better go to one of the good fields, like dermatology or something. because-
Yeah, outer barrels.
But she did bring a good point. Like I was out of line. Like I don't want to judge someone else's relationship, and I think although the structure of this younger woman, older man is flawed, maybe they have a different kind of love that I don't know.
They do
Maybe it's
not.
okay.
It's okay.
Ridiculous.
You can say that to Lucy.
It is ridiculous.
It's
ridiculous. That's what I thought yesterday.
Just go through the history of Bill Belichick, and then you'll see why we got all critical of this relationship.
Because of his relationship past, you mean?
Exactly.
Left his wife.
Started in the Giants organization.
Yeah, he's not a saint, is what we're trying
Like as I said, Bill Belichick, wild boy.
Okay, well, is there any...
It's always the ones you never see coming.
All right, as a show, but we cannot rule out a 72-24 age. Sometimes age differences, maybe there's a love there. Maybe it's okay. Or is it, but is the structure of it wrong? Amanda just stood up and said, do not say it. I don't know. Is it okay? That's my question. I want to know, and I need advice here. Is it okay for a young woman to date an old man?
I just feel like
you get her name right, huh?
In this conversation, I know what you said you were being. I feel like there is a creep here, and it's not Andrew Perloff in this conversation. It's a guy who has like what 6 rings. I think that's the
Belichick.
person.
She should
But
take it up with Bill.
Again, that's me.
It's a
And
fair
we
point.
also, I said to Lucy, I'm like, well, you know, she had dated a 65-year-old before. And she's like, not your business. Other people's relationships, not your business.
Well,
I'm like,
clearly
what
she's
you
not gonna be a
hate?
talk show host.
Yeah.
Everything's artistic.
Yeah. And then I'm like, well, you hate Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. And then she goes, yeah, because they're phony.
All right, she's back in.
She's back in, right? She's on Team Maggie on that one.
There you go.
I love how it's not our business now, but then when that person steals money from you, then it's your business.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's true.
I realize I'm out of my league here.
You hospitalized her. That might have been your issue
Yeah,
yesterday.
I think, did you also say some kind of she should be in nerd jail?
No, she should be hospitalized for nerdness, I believe was the quote.
Hospitalized.
That maybe is where you went too far.
What do you get an IV for that?
This is a picture.
Like a makeover?
You
What do
guys
you
are
get?
getting me. There's a picture of her on the plane with Bill Belichick where they first met. It's so obnoxious.
She took a selfie with him.
I know, but it was.
Sitting with your grandfather.
So
yeah,
He got on the plane by himself.
and she's a
everything.
beauty pageant. It just seems like she's, I don't know, got a lot going on.
Well, I don't know if you guys did this deep dive initially last week when I wasn't here, but I was thinking yesterday. So the story again, their story is they met on a plane like 2 years ago, and then how did he find her, or how did she find him? Because it didn't just start and stay from the plane.
Oh, did they reconnect out of it?
And I think he was with his previous girlfriend when he met her on this plane.
Is this
So
why he and Linda broke up?
if you just randomly meet somebody, have a good chat on a plane, are you exchanging social media? I mean, he doesn't have an Instagram account to follow her from, I think.
Changing sliced peaches.
Bill Belichick does not have an Instagram account.
Right. So it's like, does
Yeah.
he have a dude that's going to track her down after the fact?
So, you can't find her on Snapface. Wasn't that his joke? He said he called instant social media Snapface.
Yeah.
Oh my God! The logistics of this. So you're saying that he was having an affair on his
No,
ex?
I don't know. But I think EJ's he's a wild boy statement might be true, that Bill just knows how to play the game, and here's a cutie on a plane, talking him up, take a picture, and then things change in the initial relationship. So then he was like, oh, I remember her.
Yeah, he's got her in the back
I
burner.
call Bill Belichick a wild boy. I just want to make sure I'm so there was a very famous story of he invited a long snapper to the Pro Bowl. It was a guy, they picked Pro Bowl player. He got to pick the long snapper. He invites his long snapper. This long snapper is married or engaged to some very famous model. The guy shows up in Hawaii, says, Bill Belichick, it's an honor to meet you. I'm really excited. Thank you for picking me to come to the Pro Bowl. Bill Belichick's first question is, yeah, but where's your wife? He's like, what? He's like, well, we're in Hawaii. I was hoping you'd bring your wife. That's why we brought you on the team. Like, and this is a story that's
someone who
documented.
didn't play for the Patriots.
No, it's not someone that played for the Patriots. Someone on a different team. This is like when me and Pete say this stuff about Bill Belichick. It's not like we're just saying like he's a wild boy.
Okay. Also, how did a long snapper pull a famous
Well,
model?
is this
another great
Pam
goal.
Anderson?
Judge you, Maggie.
Do you guys remember Pam Anderson dated the Chargers long snapper forever? I don't know if that's...
maybe it might have been Pam Anderson. Maybe that's the guy.
I didn't know
And by the way, I can maybe understand where Bill Belichick was coming from.
Pam Anderson. I didn't realize it was her.
Yeah, she dated, I think, the Chargers long snapper. And,
Before Tommy Lee?
I think it's after Tommy Lee. His name was David Binn.
This was the Pam Anderson.
Yes, so it wasn't just any model. It was one of the most famous of all time. Where's your wife? That is
Bill. Pam
There's that
Anderson.
quote. I'm coming off the field. And I walk behind Bill Belichick. He looks at me and goes, "Hey, where's your girlfriend?" And I said, "Oh, Pam. She didn't come out." He says, "Remind me why the F I invited you here again." And he gave me a deadpan look, and I thought he was kidding, but he didn't crack a smile. Then I was like, "Wait, is he serious? Is he kidding?" I just walked off. I couldn't figure it out. That's the quote.
Maybe he's just also a fan of her work.
You love Baywatch for the cinematography.
And if it was after Tommy Lee, there was other work.
Are there
Other
more
videos.
layers to Bill Belichick? Is he the most fascinating coach in addition to the best coach of all time?
Yeah, maybe he's not the dud you think he is. Maybe he plays well on a plane in 22D and you're in 22E and you're chatting up your philosophy book.
I believe yesterday you called him the biggest sourpuss in the history of public life.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Did you have any issues with you bashing Belichick, or was it just Hudson?
no, he's like, you should not be judging a young woman. It's just not cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, well, what am I going to argue there? I mean,
Don't let her watch the Caitlin Clark segments we do on the show.
Yeah, she's not happy with
that's
me.
That's all we do.
I was almost on the outs with Lucy Perloff
oh,
for that
no,
one.
Maggie was. I didn't want to tell you that. She thought,
Oh my gosh!
Trying to get back in her good graces.
she's like, tell Maggie it's Pravda or whatever. Or
Prada.
Prada. Or we tell her it's like, yeah.
Definitely not Pravda.
Yeah, no, that's exactly.
State-run
That's,
TV newspaper in
That's
Russia.
what you were sending Jordan Hudson yesterday.
that's where I am on this debate. Oh, believe me, we had probably an hour and a half discussion about your Caitlin Clark fashion take from WNBA.
All I
What-
said it was a little fashionable.
I
a
get
little
home,
trendy.
unlike you guys, I get home and immediately discuss every aspect of the show with my family. It's a family affair, like the Kachucks.
There's tears in your eyes, just
And
like Keith.
It is amazing. My wife and my daughter are immediately Team Maggie on every single topic.
Well, when you said that there was an issue yesterday, you said it was mostly your wife. So I was surprised that Lucy actually was the enforcer that really was like throwing her weight around.
Yeah, I didn't want to tell you the opinion they had on you, EJ.
Oh, no.
They're like, why couldn't he just wait till Paris to ask his girlfriend to marry him?
Are they serious?
Wow.
Do they hate my son too?
Oh, I was trying to think it's unfunny.
Do they like any of us?
Oh, my gosh.
You're the one who brought that up, by the way, not me.
Okay.
Headlines? Have we done the headlines?
We have not.
Oh my
Is there any other person I can criticize
What do you think
here?
about Pete?
Well, easy.
I'll pass over to Bogusch
Thanks,
for that one.
Perloff.
I'll pass over to
Please.
Bogusch for that
And
one.
coach more
I'm a
NHL
win.
games than anybody without winning the Stanley Cup. That changed last night.
I didn't win the Stanley Cup tonight. I got to share it. And that is a completely different idea. Not that I thought this was all about me. I certainly didn't. I mean, but that's what I learned. You don't win a Stanley Cup. You share it.
His Panthers took the lead on the Oilers with a Sam Reinhart goal late second period of Game 7, then held on for a 2-1 win, avoiding the second 3-0 collapse in final history. The Panthers had the first cup in team history 2 years after giving themselves a facelift by trading from Matthew Tkachuk.
I can't believe how good this 2 years have been. I'm so thankful for this group of guys. It's the best. It's the best place. Best guys.
Neither Tkachuk nor Alexander Barkov nor Sergei Bobrovsky won the Conn Smythe Trophy as playoff MVP. It went instead to Edmonton's Connor McDavid, the second non-goalie to win it in a losing effort. The San Francisco Giants were on a 5-game losing streak, all in the aftermath of Willie Mays passing last night. Their first home game since then, players and coaches wearing Willie's number 24, and they scored 3 times, bottom 9 for a 5-4 victory over the Cubs. Manager Bob Melvin.
All the stuff pregame, certainly gets you attention. We've been thinking about this all week, and finally win a game, for him. Whether it was Rickwood or whatever, we had trouble winning games, during his tributes. So it was good to be able to do it at home here.
And they won last night on a bases-loaded walk, bottom 9. The Rangers' 4-game win streak ending in Milwaukee 6-3, and the Reds' 11-5 home win over the Pirates included a homer and 3 RBI from
Ellie de Cruz. How? That's a tough one.
Just keep practicing, Paul O'Neill. Tennessee held off Texas A&M 6-5 in the third and final game at the College Baseball World Series. It's the first title in program history, number 16 for the SEC. And Toronto Raptors guard Scotty Barnes expected to soon sign a 5-year rookie extension. The max value is roughly $270 million. The guarantee is $225 million. Barnes would be the highest paid player in team history.
Wow.
I'm assuming you already knew that as an NBA insider, Pete.
I did.
Okay.
So doing a little more deep dive here, that I didn't know that Pamela Anderson dated the Chargers long snapper for a long time. His name was David Bin. And in our chat, Delta says, Pam Anderson made me a man watching Baywatch in the 90s. And Pino said, she made me want to buy a boat.
She made me want to be a lifeguard.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
She made me want to buy a boat. Well, all right. I didn't know it. Should I have known that?
I remember it now, but I would not. It's not top of mind.
Okay. I'm so sorry, but why are you buying a boat for Pam Anderson?
The Tommy Lee video.
Tommy Lee video.
Oh, a little slow here. Sorry.
Recap that.
The boat, right? But there was also a car in that video. Not that I saw it. I did see it. Not.
I was told.
Wait, there's a car in the video?
Oh,
there's 2 parts. I just assumed it was that one video. From the boat.
It's a collection of home videos, is it not?
Let's look at any cars.
Did anybody see the show, the fictional show?
No, but when you and I went to our first Super Bowl as the Maggie and Perloff show, it was still like pandemic. We were in LA, but the pandemic, we were staying in downtown LA. There weren't a lot of people there for that Super Bowl on Radio Row. We felt lucky to be there, actually. But outside of our hotel was a massive billboard for that show.
Yeah, I saw some of it. It portrayed Tommy Lee as a very strange cat. Like a lot of guns.
And Pam is like a victim. No?
Pam is
someone who was exploited.
Yeah, not really. The parts I saw, like she was a partner, like they had something real. Like it wasn't terrible for Pam. It was about this contractor who got ripped off by Tommy Lee. It didn't portray her as a victim particularly.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure because I think that she had written a book.
In the video, yes, she was a victim of the video getting stolen and leaked. Yes. But in the relationship, she was. The relationship seemed okay with Tommy Lee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I didn't. I only watched like 3 episodes.
Got it. Yeah, still got to get around to that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which one?
Yeah, which one are we talking about?
I'm not going to go
There's
find the
also,
original.
there's a
What's
big-
that, a VHS?
big-
He had like a big camera like he was doing the evening news.
And guys, she made the boat reference. She's already seen that one, and we got to go to the Hulu.
No, I've never seen the
Mockumentary.
original Pam Tommy.
There's a big Pam Anderson documentary on Netflix right now. It's supposed to be really good. I haven't seen it. Yeah, I mean her backstory is really interesting.
Know anything about it?
Not really. No, I
Super interesting though.
I do. I saw the trailer. Like basically, like she said no to Baywatch 12 times, and they begged her to come out for it because they thought she'd never worked before. They're like, this is the one.
One of her first American shows was Married with Children.
Oh,
Really?
she was a cameo on that, right?
Yeah,
Interesting. All right. Well, there you go. Never know what you're going to get on the show.
that's right.
I'm curious, has Amanda, have you ever heard of Pamela Anderson?
Oh, God, please say yes.
Have you?
I have heard of Pamela Anderson. I don't know much about Pam and Tommy.
Okay.
I know.
You know who Tommy Lee is?
Crue.
Yeah, good.
That's
Drummer
all
for
I know.
Motley Crue. Yep.
So what do you know Pam Anderson from otherwise, though?
Oh,
She's a model. She's pretty.
Baywatch. Not Baywatch.
That's all.
There you go. Yeah. What else is Pam? That's what everyone knows her.
Right.
That's what you need to know.
Yeah. Amanda's got the Cliff Notes. I was just curious if a woman in her early 20s would have known who Pam Anderson is.
She definitely doesn't know who Heather Locklear is.
Oh, man.
I was thinking like a Farrah Fawcett.
That's like the 70s. Heather Locklear, the 90s. Have you heard of Heather Locklear? No.
Heather Locklear, I think originally the 80s, and
Was
then
80s, yeah.
she was a little older by Melrose Place.
Melrose Place.
Amanda says she does know Farrah Fawcett.
Okay. Heather Locklear, like Wayne's World, you said they were like obsessed with her, weren't they? Yeah. Okay. 855-212-4227. We could go through all supermodels of the 80s and 90s. We'll
Please.
do that another
Get
day.
Pete's attention.
Pete's suddenly very interested in the show.
Do you know Raquel Welch? Pete wants to know.
He's more of a Elle McPherson guy. Okay, coming up, we've got an update for you on some NFL stuff, including 2 Super Bowl contenders having some big meetings yesterday. We'll tell you who next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Bogusch waves, he's got the road trip blues left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio, can't believe his eyes, but Bogusch stuck at home, his heartache amplifies, betting against Wembyama. Perloff took the fall, but it's Bogusch left behind, feeling 10 feet tall, a loser in his own right, can't catch a break, road trip dream shattered. For goodness sake, for goodness sake, Bogusch cruising highways, hilarity atop San Antonio shining, the city's calling their name. Bogusch weeps, he's got the road trip blues left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio, can't believe his eyes, but Bogusch stuck at home, his heartache amplifies, betting against Wembyama. Perloff took the fall, but it's Bogusch left behind, feeling 10 feet tall, a loser in his own right, can't catch a break, road trip dream shattered, for goodness sake.
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by the Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the armed forces, DoD veterans, and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org.
Wow, this seems like a layup, right?
Yeah, I mean,
You didn't get the Conn Smythe, but it's got to be Sergei Bobrovsky, right? No, I don't know. He never goes obvious anymore, though, Maggie. EJ, who chooses Defensive Player of the Week.
I would think you'd go with last night's Stanley Cup. Game 7, it may have been the most important and biggest hockey game in 82 years. I would think you'd go with Bobrovsky.
But wait. Let's think about it. This is EJ, though. He's going to try and outsmart us here. There was a big WNBA game over the weekend. There's a College
World.
World.
Angel Reese's rebounds.
Well, the College World Series. There was maybe a second baseman on Tennessee.
Turned a double play.
There's the Copa going on.
Ooh.
Although I don't know if that's heated up to the point that we have someone from there. I don't know. I don't think
Bogusch's kid, Joe Bogusch, win was it 34
Jake
nothing?
Bogusch? Yeah.
Jack Bogusch.
James?
Well, no, I've seen
Jimmy
Jake Bogusch in the
Bogusch.
outfield. There's no way he's winning Defensive Player of the Week.
Hey, he's an all-star.
Oh, my gosh. Merciless. I'm so glad that
You're
11-year-old
kidding.
Jake is not listening.
Maggie, don't invite me to one of Lucas's Little League games. I will be
Pearl's
ruthless.
got beef with all middle school and elementary school kids of this show. He's got beef with Jake Bogusch.
Yeah.
He's got beef with Lucy.
She's got a beef with our JJ Redick's 4th grade team in Brooklyn, right? That he was coaching.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I'm like, it's okay for Perloff to go off on Bogusch's kid, but then like all the kids are either doling it out or taking it on the show because Lucy's mad at me, mad at Perloff, mad at EJ.
No, she's a huge fan of yours. Let me
just
get
mad
that.
about my Caitlin Clark
No.
fashion.
No, right. She just disagreed. And, you might be right. She's probably caught it. You said that Caitlin Clark will regret it because fashions change in 10 years. Reasonable take. She said you're wrong. Anyway.
All right, back to the
All
defensive
right, so Defensive Player of the Week this week is Sergei Bobrovsky.
There you go.
So, yes, it was Game 7, Stanley Cup Finals, 24 shots, 23 saves. They needed to win. It was a must-win game, obviously. So it was an easy pick. It was a huge game. So, Sergei, congratulations, Defensive Player of the Week. Congratulations to the Florida Panthers, who were tired and still found a way to get it done in the end.
EJ, you have to admit, you were probably looking for like a WNBA center with 7 blocks just to throw us off the scent.
No, because I thought maybe you guys would think that I'm doing that, so you guys would look that way, and I hoped maybe you would pick a Angel Reese or someone like that, and you didn't. So, congrats this week.
We got it. And the Panthers do have the cup, and so they get the first championship in the history of the franchise. And
30 years.
Who's going to be the next team that breaks this? Oh, we've never gotten one before. We're finally going to win one.
Oh, in any sport?
You could say any sport, yeah.
Well, as far as Super Bowl, how about those Detroit Lions?
That could be a
They
year.
feel like they're trending in the right direction. That'd be a great story.
Yeah.
How about those Texans?
Well, yeah, but they haven't been around as long as Detroit. Detroit did win an NFL title, right?
Oh, they did win an NFL championship.
Like
not Super Bowl,
57,
but-
I want to say.
I
think they did at least. Cincinnati obviously has not won a Super Bowl. The Texans, I feel like the Texans are still young. They're babies NFL wise.
I was thinking, is it possible, maybe out of nowhere, it's going to be hard. Do the Mariners finally win one?
Oof.
Oh, jeez.
I know.
No.
It's going to be tough because obviously, American League, the Yankees are right there. They look awesome.
Yeah, well, that's
Dodgers look awesome.
Yeah, well, none of that means anything.
Their
It was
rotation is sick, though.
I know. They're leading the AL West.
Yeah.
And it looks like Houston's down this year. I mean, Houston's been dominating. They've made a little bit of a
They've
comeback
played
lately.
well of late, but
Guys, the Diamondbacks and the Rangers were in the World Series. We're not predicting. Like, there's no. I agree with you. Like, if anybody gets into the tournament in baseball, it's open season.
855-212-4227. Who's going to be the next team to win their first ever championship like the Florida Panthers did last night? Coming up, did you guys see this story about the Dallas Cowboys and Mike McCarthy being fed up? I'm going to get the author of that story next. Ty Dunne joins us. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Here's Reinhardt at the right wing side. Reinhardt to the right circle. A shot, and he scores! Sam Reinhardt gives the Panthers a 2-1 lead here in Game 7. 4:49 to play here in the middle frame. And Sam Reinhardt out of the right circle gives the Panthers the lead.
Panthers radio, and that was the game winner in the second period. No goals scored in the third. It was tight the entire way. And a flurry of opportunities, Perloff, for Edmonton to try to tie this thing up in regulation never happened. Florida hoists the Stanley Cup. They avoid being on the wrong side of what would have been one of the worst collapses in the history of sports. So along with the jubilation that they're clearly feeling today, you got to be feeling some relief, too.
Oh, my God. And how about the relief? With 7 minutes left, the Oilers are starting to pressure them big time. Goalie loses his stick. Can you imagine how stressful that must have been for Panthers fans last night? Holding on to a 1-goal lead in hockey is torture. So to come away with that, and it's funny, the last minute and a half when they pulled the goalie, that didn't feel scary at all because the Oilers were so out of gas, they didn't even threaten. But I think it's really interesting. It's just the same as last year in the Eastern Conference Finals. Miami goes up 3-0 on the Celtics. Then they let them get back into it, force a Game 7, and kill them. So I think this is a new thing now. I think teams go up 3-0, then come back in Game 7. I don't know why.
This is a thing?
Well, I just think the better
Taking
team...
years off your life.
The better team usually goes up 3-0. I think you can walk away from this and say, top to bottom, Florida is the better team. They never really should have blown this lead. Then again, I did not know that they were going to win last night, so it did seem like the Oilers had momentum.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you think with the best player in the world in Connor McDavid, this gives you a fighting chance. And McDavid did not score, was not on the score sheet last night.
He was a factor, though. He was not invisible by any means.
Oh, no, he definitely wasn't. But it's funny because it's a double-edged sword because you're right. Everyone's so tired by the end because they have to have all these minutes. And we talked to 3-time Stanley Cup champion Ken Daneyko earlier in the show. He said, well, it's your double-edged sword. You got to keep McDavid out on the ice because he's your best player. But he's going to get tired. He's a human being also, and logging those kind of minutes when it's the NHL is just ungodly. And so you got to keep your best guy out there.
Well,
but you know that you might not be getting. And again, he had that chance, as you said, with about 7 minutes left to go. It was right there, and they couldn't just poke the puck, in the back of the net.
Well, EJ's ripping this, but the truth is it happens in every sport. If LeBron had to play 48 minutes in a Game 7, he's not going to be as effective by the last 3 minutes if you have a bunch of guys with fresh legs out there covering them.
No doubt.
I mean, that's how sports works.
But is it a coaching situation? I think EJ just didn't like it being used as, this is an excuse why Edmonton lost, when Florida is also playing these very heavy minutes. They're playing, crunch time. They're playing like mentally, fatigue minutes. It's not just Edmonton who dug themselves out of this 0-3 hole. It's also Florida who let it go. I mean, how anxious must they have been last night?
I don't think it was the 3-0 lead, as Ken Daneyko pointed out.
Daneyko.
Yeah, Daneyko. He didn't have a lot of minutes in Game 6.
Right.
He only had 18 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was just last night they were so desperate to score that they just kept him on the ice too long, and last minute was not good.
So we have some poll questions up for you on X at Maggie and Pearl. Do you agree with the decision to give the Conn Smythe Trophy, that's playoff MVP, to Connor McDavid, even though his team lost in the Stanley Cup Final? Yes, he deserved to win it, 68%. No, his team lost, 32%. Perloff, you are not a fan of this.
I mean, it just doesn't even help anybody. What's the point? He couldn't come out on the ice. I mean, he chose not to come out on the ice. He didn't get to celebrate it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's going to be, if anything, a negative label moving forward. He's going to be the guy who won the Conn Smythe in a losing effort, much like Jerry West won an NBA MVP Finals in a losing effort. It's not good. Like, nothing good comes out of this. It's not going to be part of his legacy.
See, I think the exact opposite. I'm on a total diametrically opposite side of you. I think that you can be the best player and you're acknowledged that you're the best player, your team would not be where they are. It's like an even bigger feather in your cap. It's like your team lost, but you clearly need to be acknowledged. That's how brilliant your performance was, that you must be acknowledged, that you actually get the most valuable even in the losing effort. Like, I think that's like what history will show. Look at the stamp that you left on this postseason, even though it's a team game and your team came up short.
You all see what's happening here, right? This isn't just me.
This participation trophy?
This is a LeBron MJ thing.
Well, LeBron did deserve the MVP of the
2015?
The first year against the Warriors. He was definitely the best player on the floor when he was with the Cavs.
Yeah, but he wasn't so good that he won the title like Michael Jordan did every year. Okay.
Well, you're right about that.
I think it's the difference when you have playoff championship or playoff MVP and finals MVP. Like, when you got to add the whole playoffs, McDavid was incredible, so that makes it a little tricky.
Yeah, he's like in the same conversation with Gretzky in terms of points and Mario Lemieux.
Luka Doncic is like, in this playoffs, he's the only person to lead it. He led the entire postseason in points, rebounds, assists, and steals or something crazy like that. I mean, he was clearly the playoff MVP. Would you guys have been okay with him winning some kind of MVP?
Nah.
Nope. Of course not.
855-212-4227. So that's a little what happened on the ice last night. All-time game, 82 years, maybe the biggest game in 82 years. So that was the last time someone had come back from 03. And it was in the 40s. And last night, Florida Panthers, they finish the job. Okay. Got to get to our next guest because a good friend of the show. Love his info, love his writing. And this is an article that Ty Dunne on his Go Long Substack, which I would recommend to everybody to subscribe to. I subscribe, and I'm so happy I do. Wrote a deep dive on the Dallas Cowboys. Ty, thanks so much for the time. Good morning. How you been?
I'm doing great, Maggie Perloff. It's great to see you, too. Usually I'm kind of just pacing the house on the phone, so to bring it to Zoom, I feel like I should have brought a jar of peanut butter here, and me and Andy could have gone to town.
That's true. We never have you. I don't think we've had you on Zoom. Have we?
Well, we did have Ty on the day you ate 2 jars of peanut or a jar and a half of peanut butter. We couldn't get the camera off of you. It had to be full-time on Perloff.
Wow.
So we couldn't spare a camera. But no, it's great for you to come on. Thank you for doing it. So you wrote this article a couple weeks ago about the Dallas Cowboys, and it's gotten this second life where it's just like gone completely viral now. And there was one specific quote of the thousands of words you wrote on the Cowboys, but one specific quote that's getting pulled out that a lot of people are pointing to. And it's this idea that Mike McCarthy may be getting fed up with the fact that it's hard for a head coach to really put their stamp on the culture and influence on the Dallas Cowboys because Jerry Jones is such a huge figure in the team and within the franchise. Can you just flesh this out a little bit more with your reporting? I mean, is there real tension here between McCarthy and Jerry Jones?
In terms of tension, I'm not quite sure. Now, I heard this through somebody who has been in that room with Jerry Jones, with Stephen Jones, a chief decision maker with this team who's still pretty plugged in. So I get it. We're kind of going a couple degrees here, but it is somebody I trust. And I can tell you that Mike McCarthy isn't happy with how things are run there with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, you could say, well, shouldn't you know what you're getting into? This is Jerry we're talking about. This is Stephen Jones. This is the Dallas Cowboys. They've been having these problems there since, the early 90s. I mean, this goes back to Jimmy Johnson. Some things just never really change. But, yeah, it's real. And I think Mike McCarthy has a point to make. And this is coming from somebody who was pretty critical of Mike McCarthy. I think he's proven that he's got a good thing going with Dak Prescott. He can adapt schematically to today's NFL. Say what you want about the playoffs. They've won 12 games, 3 years in a row. And it's crazy that a team on the cusp right there wouldn't get that Dak deal done, sit down with Dak and say, look, let's restructure your number for 2024 so we can get you another weapon. We can get you a lineman. We're going to try to win this year because, look, they're trying to have this weird middle ground of, we don't really believe in you, Mike, but stick around as a lame duck. And Dak, we love you, but not enough to get a deal done. I don't know. If you don't believe in this quarterback, if you don't believe in this coach, just blow the thing up after you lose to Green Bay. Otherwise, do what other contenders do and actively try to win the Super Bowl. We're kind of getting in the weeds here, but I think there's a real push and pull with Jerry and Steve. And I think that Stephen Jones is the one who doesn't want to get caught up into dead cash, dead cap money, and paying people not to work. That's why you get coaches on these one-year deals, these lame duck deals, and that's why you're unable to really find the timing on contracts with players you draft who are damn good, right? They draft pretty well, but you get to the time to pay these guys, and the timing is brutal.
Yeah, but Ty, there is this thing with Dak Prescott. I'm not sure after last year's playoff debacle, maybe it's the right decision not to pay him. Is that at least discussed in that building?
I'm sure it is.
Like,
yeah,
could they move on?
I mean, every GM and every coach in charge, whoever's running the show, and who the hell knows who's really running the show in Dallas, right? I think Will McClay is really in control of that draft room and has done a really good job. But when it comes to paying these players, it's Jerry Jones, it's Stephen Jones. Maybe they have a point. Maybe they want a quarterback who's going to be better than 2-5 in the postseason and not fall on his face at home. I get that, but what's your plan? Like, what's the alternative? Is it Trey Lance? Is it looking to the 2025 draft? Because if it is, which is fine, right? You know, my co-host who's worked in NFL front offices, Jim Otis, he likens Dak Prescott to like a 17 hand in blackjack. Like, it's good, but you're going to need a little help. And I get that point. But if you're at that point, Andrew, like if you really don't think Dak can win that time of year, then trade him. Like, get something like do something. Because right now Dak has you by you know what. He's got all the leverage. If I'm Dak Prescott, I'm asking for $60 million a year, and I'm not really in a hurry to sign anything, because if you're a top 12 quarterback this year, you're going to get paid top of market. I mean, that's what we're seeing around the NFL.
Ty Dunne is joining us. His Substack, it's the Go Long Substack. Totally worth it. Worth your time. Go check it out. So I like some more reporting you did behind the scenes, Ty, about sort of this idea that Jerry Jones would kind of be out there spending like a wild man if he could. And Stephen Jones is more of the conservative, maybe voice in the room at times when it comes to salaries. You just sort of laid out. He's thinking about dead cap and about cash spending, and Jerry maybe not so much. You know, Perloff has a theory, Pearl, I'll put your words in your mouth, that the Cowboys will never win as long as Jerry Jones has any voice and has any influence. From the people you talk to, is that a common held thought that as long as Jerry is in any way in charge at all, they're not going to win?
Totally. Two teams haven't reached the NFC Championship game since 1995. Dallas and the Washington Redskins football team Commanders. And what do they have in common, right? It's ownership. It's Dan Snyder to the extreme, kind of poisoning that building. And here in Dallas, you've got some really good teams. You've got some contenders on the cusp, but some way, somehow, ownership sticks its nose in there and things just go haywire. So I think that that's absolutely spot on. And man, this goes back to really Bill Parcells, for example, right? Bill Parcells is the one coach who did have some personnel control there and somehow gets a Quincy Carter quarterback team to the playoffs. I mean, he worked some miracles as the Dallas head coach. Remember, that was a team in a really bad place before he got there. But I was told it really did bother Jerry Jones that the Dallas Cowboys were back, the Dallas Cowboys were winning, but he wasn't the one pushing the buttons. He wasn't the one in control. And he was never going to make that mistake ever again. That every coach that came after Bill Parcells was going to be underneath him, that he was going to say, and I guess the only person that can really challenge Jerry or have that debate with Jerry, it's Stephen Jones, right? It's Stephen, and they do have that push and pull. It's real, and it's probably good to an extent that Stephen Jones is reeling Jerry in, because hell, I mean, there's been some bad moves. Think of the Roy Williams trade back in the day. But I think in today's NFL, with where the cap is, man, you better be finagling contracts and pushing some money down the road if you intend to win right now. I mean, to kind of get that concerned about dead cash and financial issues down the road when you're the richest franchise in sports in the world, by the way. We're not talking about, the Paul Brown Cincinnati Bengals. These are the Dallas Cowboys. They print money. you better be willing to take that risk, and they just aren't. They win 12 games, they get to free agency, and one source I talked to said the conversations had, okay, we're going to be looking for bargains in free agency. We're not really going to be spending the first 48 hours. We're going to let everybody else spend, and that's smart to an extent, but I think the Cowboys have really missed some opportunities to find one or two pieces that can get you over the hump. I mean, this isn't just this offseason. This goes back to some of those Tony Romo years. I think they've missed some opportunities.
Yeah, Ty bringing up Trent Williams in your piece. You brought up Christian McCaffrey. The fact that it's pretty laughable to bring back Zeke Elliott at this point and be like touting that you're going to have Zeke Elliott. I mean, that's silly.
Well, let me ask, is there another way that Jerry Jones interferes, or is there something else in Mike McCarthy besides the personnel decisions? Is there a day-to-day influence of the owner that gets in the way of the head coach?
The way it was kind of described, I mean, I did like a 3-parter a few years ago. It was probably in that, these draft meetings, everybody's trying to get Jerry's ear, right? Like you want to kind of pull him aside, talk to him about a prospect that you like, and maybe help Jerry understand it's his idea, right? Really, I think Jason Garrett did a hell of a job with this too as head coach, where it's like whether it's Jason Garrett's, anybody behind the scenes, you want Jerry to kind of think it's Jerry's idea. You can't just come in guns a-blazing with your opinion and hope that Jerry Jones is going to agree with you. It's like, kind of look at this. Look at these numbers. Let's go this direction and maybe steer him gently to the right place, which is – I mean, the juxtaposition is like the Green Bay Packers, where you don't have an owner and you've just got Ron Wolf, Ted Thompson, Brian Gutekunst making cold, calculated, correct football decisions like – drafted a quarterback when you don't need one and letting him sit 3 years. Like that would never fly with an owner who's involved at all. But you know what's funny? My first thought when you asked that question is, I wrote this story 3 weeks ago, and for whatever reason, it just kind of caught on yesterday. But it's those two words, fed up, that go crazy. It's not the draft room a few years back where Jerry and Stephen Jones are telling stories of sexual escapades, like out in the open with Charlotte right there, the daughter. Like, and she's not batting an eye because she's probably immune to it at this point. Like, nobody cares about any of that because I think we just all expect that from Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones. But to some extent, the immorality of the Dallas Cowboys, I don't know how you quantify it, but it probably doesn't help.
I think people caught on to the Mike McCarthy's fed up because most people were fed up with Mike McCarthy after they lost to the Packers. And now you can kind of understand why McCarthy himself would be fed up. And I think it's a fair point, that they've won a lot of games, but he is 1-3 in the playoffs, and now he's in a lame duck season. Ty, before I let you go, it's not just the Cowboys you've been writing about on Go Long on your Substack, which we love. Jordan Love's next year and what's in store for him as a member and the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers after the NFC Championship run, the NFC Divisional Round run, almost beating San Francisco in the driving rain. What are you predicting for Jordan Love's season this year?
Yeah, I think Jordan Love is a star, is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL a long time. I mean, just look at last year. You lose your left tackle, maybe your best player, David Bakhtiari, about 55 snaps into the season. You don't have Aaron Jones for stretches. Your best weapon at running back. You don't have Christian Watson with his hamstring issues. It was bad. I mean, he had to deal with a lot, and it took a while. I mean, in the middle of the season, Brian Gutekunst, the GM who stuck his neck out there to draft you, basically said he's got to see something from you, Jordan Love, to justify a contract extension and pushing this thing forward, and he responded. He was the best quarterback in the NFL right up until that throw in Santa Clara, which was ugly, a little Favrean, right? We've seen that before in Green Bay, but I know the sample size is small. And that's always risky. But this is the one downside to the quarterback blueprint in Green Bay, which I think is brilliant, to draft a quarterback when you don't need one. Let him sit, let him learn, let him develop. You just have to kind of make these big decisions off of not a lot of games, which I think is a good problem to have. So they'll pay him in the mid-50s, and I'm sure they'll structure it in a way where, it's going to be team friendly, but Jordan Love will get his. I mean, they'll get it done, and I feel like the sky's the limit for him because he always had the stuff you can't coach, like just the mental toughness, the big arm, the athleticism, and he is just worked on everything that you can coach with Steve Calhoun, Matt LaFleur, everybody in his inner circle, Connor Lewis since then. And I'm all in on Jordan Love, and we'll see. I mean, there's going to be ups and downs like anything. It's a tough division, but this guy has it.
Ty, we're out of time, but I do want you to note something. Maggie was very excited, not just about the Cowboys article, but you talked to Brandon Beane. And you notice her, you can see it on Zoom, and if you're listening on radio, this is as Bills a blue for her top as you possibly. So she's like, she couldn't get a Bills question in, but she's subliminally getting you in the Bills conversation. You see that?
I don't need to subliminal anything with my shirt. I sit in a Bills corner, whereas I'm like in a Buffalo. I'm basically a Bills bar.
You can't see the Fred Jackson jerseys right over her shoulder off camera.
Yeah, Ty knows. I sit in like my little Bills cave here in the side. There's nothing subliminal about it. We'll have to get you on another time to talk about the Brandon Beane one-on-one. It was very, very good. Made me hopeful for the season. Ty Dunne, go long. Subscribe to the Substack. Totally worth your time and your money. Ty, thanks so much.
Hey, thank you so much, guys. Always fun to join. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thanks, Ty. Okay, we've got lots more to do. That was really good. Talking about the Cowboys. What about your guy, Jordan Love?
Yeah. Your restraint on the Bills. Admirable.
It's not about me on this show.
Whatever. You basically are wearing a Jim Kelly jersey right now.
I get dressed in the dark like you. That's what happens on this shift. So much more to do, including the sights and sounds from the Stanley Cup Final last night. Florida Panthers hoist the cup. What did it sound like? What did the celebration sound like? We've got all that for you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
Oh, Maggie Gray on the radio waves, talking sports and scores and the games we crave. But when she's done with touchdowns and three-point shots, she dives into conspiracies and connects the dots. Oh, Maggie Gray, with your wild theories, you make history sound like a daytime series. From grassy knolls to the CIA, what will you dream of today? JFK wasn't just a simple case. I got the scoop right here on my plate. She's got a playbook full of suspects, from mob bosses to alien insects. Oh, Maggie Gray, with your wild theories, you make history sound like a daytime series. From grassy knolls to the CIA, what will you dream of today? Oh, Maggie Gray, with your wild theories. Shadows long, Andrew in a kitchen dark with shadows long. Andrew Perloff sings his eerie song with a cauldron bubbling and a wicked gleam. He's cooking up a devilish dream. Andrew Perloff, the spooky chef king, with devilish ideas that make nightmares sing. Bull's testicles, a sinister feast in his haunted kitchen. He's the culinary beast. He starts with a flame, burning so bright, casting spooky shadows in the dead of night, slicing and dicing with a sinister flair. Bull's testicles, he's preparing with care.
To kill a tortoise. That's the other problem.
She'll figure
Trust
it
me,
out.
I fantasize a lot about this. How are you going to kill it? You have to drown it, right?
Oh my
Drown
gosh.
a tortoise? Isn't it under?
It's
Doesn't it breathe in the water?
amphibious. Google, how do I kill a
So
tortoise?
I was thinking, I live on the 8th floor. If I dropped him out the window, would the shell crack and he'd die? Because I can't.
What
the
is
worst,
wrong
That
with your
sounds
family?
inhumane. Don't do
because the
that.
worst torture would be to put him out on the streets. That would
I
be
disagree.
awful.
How about Central Park? There's parks in New York City. I know
He
people
would
think
die.
it's just
He
asphalt.
would die a terrible death in Central
And
Park.
dropping him from a building? Is that a
Yes,
terrible death?
yes, that's much better. He died like that.
You
1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Okay, welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Maggie, we've been dying to hear about a certain trip. I feel like we'll get to it in a second, but have you noticed the signs from the universe that are coming at you? We've been talking a lot about parenting today. Disney is hitting Maggie left and right. And I feel like
not even our parent company.
I feel like it's a matter of time that you are going to have to go to Disney World or Disneyland with your kid. I've done it. I know Pete's done it. EJ, you've been there, right?
Yeah, I've been. Yeah, my parents took me when I was a kid, and I've been there as an adult. I went to Disneyland as an adult.
Yeah. I'm super in. I'm all about Disney World, Disneyland. But most recently, Andrew Bogusch, did you spend an entire week there? And yeah, we're dying to know. Like, first of all, was it good?
Yes, it was good.
Of course, it was good. Disney's awesome. But Maggie, of course, wants to know the best and the worst part, not just the best. She needs some negative here. But she's less eager than the rest of us to dive into the carrying a crying 5-year-old around a park.
See, that's the thing. I think everybody gets the pictures from the vacation, and they're like, see, it was like this the whole time. And I know that's not true. You want to know how? Because I have a child, and it's never like that.
No,
And-
they were definitely crying kids.
Right.
It's hot,
definitely,
too. It's always
yeah.
hot.
It's hot. It's expensive. It's waiting online. I can't. I'm failing to see the upside here. And
See,
please don't come after me, Mr. Mouse.
Before you say that, I will say the opposite. Like, what's the point of having a kid if you can't take him at age 7 to Disney World? That's the whole thing. That's the best. That's the cream of the crop of the parenting experience.
It is?
Yes, like that's what you remember, because just to see the joy on their face to see Goofy or whatever crap they throw your way. That is the ultimate child. I mean, listen, at least that's what they're selling anyway. That is the joy of being a parent, is that you get to do certain experience. Maybe it's not Disney World, but something like that, something out of the ordinary and different. It's not just about the photo. It's about exposing your kids to something fun.
So this is where I've really started to get weird about this. Is I just had no clue how expensive this place is. I had no clue. I just plead ignorance. I went there. I don't even remember. I have a picture of my brother and me in front of the Magic Kingdom. I have no recollection of this trip at all. I had no idea how insanely expensive it is. So you're talking about seeing the look on your kids' faces when they get to do something cool. I kid you not. You could take your kids to see the actual pyramids of Giza for less. Now, I don't know if it would impress them as much as Elsa and Anna. Certainly not my son at 5 years old. But you could go take them. And I'm not judging your vacation at all, Bogusch, or anyone else's here. I'm just saying, when I found out how much that costs, I'm like, you could actually take your kid out in the world to see other things, not this manufactured plastic place that, yes, is going to bring them joy, but what about all the other things in the world that could bring them joy? So that's where I'm at with it. I didn't know how expensive it was.
Yeah, because the pyramids of Giza are really going to bring a lot of joy to a 5-year-old.
Right. I mean, is Lucas watching a cartoon based on ancient Egypt in the morning? I don't understand like your point. What's the comparison?
I'm
it's
just
like,
saying.
Wow, that sounds super fun.
Right.
Even as an adult, I'm like, oh, great.
Oh, that's a big
Go
triangle.
see some Giza.
Oh, great. This is awesome. Thanks, Aunt Maggie.
Wow. You're really going to plan the next Maggie and Perloff road trip.
Triangle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. What else you got? We're going to go to the museum tomorrow?
Yeah, it's sand in my shoe. Great.
Stonehenge is next.
Yeah.
Sand in my shoe.
Let's not go on a roller coaster. Let's go to some museum in Florence.
Yeah, you don't want to see the Leaning Tower of Pisa?
If I go to
fine.
Europe, I want to go to Disney Europe.
Nothing says Paris. Like the Ratatouille ride.
Yeah. No, I totally understand what you're saying, Maggie, but I just don't think you get it.
I don't.
I do wish that it was in some way easier to do financially because I do believe it wholeheartedly. If like the point of your kid thinking that that's Mickey or oh my God, that's Toy Story Land makes me happy.
Right.
And I'm 44 years old. I can't imagine if you're 6 and you think Woody's the coolest dude on the planet, and then there he is, and you're playing with huge green, soldier toys. Like it's that look on the kid's face is almost priceless,
sure.
except that it has a price,
Right.
and the price has too many decimal points.
It'd be better if it was accessible to everybody. I totally agree with that. But I have to tell you about the cost. Maggie, have you been to the grocery store lately? Like, we're actually buying tickets for a trip somewhere. Like, you can't get to Giza now for the money you think you can. I'm sorry. Whenever you went to Giza,
straight to Cairo.
wherever you went to Cairo 3 years ago, triple that. And that's what it's at now. Because we're planning a trip and like, dear God, it is insane what everything costs now. Sorry, obviously people know that.
No, I know.
I'm not breaking any news. But so way back. What was your favorite part?
Yeah, let's do Rose and Thorn. Best part, worst part.
So I don't remember, Maggie, are you a roller coaster / Star Wars person?
You forgot?
Yeah.
That's a no and a no.
Yeah, I was like 0 for 2 there.
So Rise of the Resistance in the new Star Wars land, which is a crazy thing too in Hollywood studios, this whole little corner that looks like a Star Wars planet.
So cool.
It's ridiculous. But Rise of the Resistance is a remarkable ride. At one point, a door opens and it looks like you're on the back of some Death Star and there's actual stormtroopers there giving you dirty looks. It's like mind-blowing.
You could just take a regular Boeing flight and probably get that.
Couldn't. I don't think they have stormtroopers there.
Come on.
And I landed, so that's also a plus. The
Rise
worst
of the
thing,
Resistance, actually, there are certain times where the fate of the universe actually depends on you.
I
It's
felt
so
the pressure.
realistic. It is the craziest ride. I'm totally with him. It's amazing.
At one point, Kylo Ren is chasing you, or a graphic of him, and then a lightsaber comes through the ceiling of like the elevator shaft you're in, and starts to cut a hole for him to come drop through, and you get yanked out of the room in your little magnetized cart. It's crazy.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
All right. What was the worst part?
Guardians of the Galaxy. That ride is new-ish. My wife thinks it's the best thing she's ever been on. I understand the idea of it. The concept is phenomenal. But in execution for me and a developing problem of motion sickness, I had to leave. I went home. Me and Jack left because we both got off and were like,
sorry about that.
We got off and like, we do not feel well. And my wife and daughter were like, can we go on again? And it was already like 90 and max humidity. And we had like 3 hours left of things to do. And I was like, I can't make it. I gotta go. I gotta be in air conditioning. I need to be in a bed. We left and went like we were hungover. Went back to our room, lights off, put the TV on, laid in bed, ordered pizza, and eventually recovered. But it kicked my butt.
Was that the drop? What, the Tower of Terror?
No, this one's indoors, in the dark, twisting, turning. The car of the coaster moves in addition to going on the track.
So you had like vertigo or a concussion?
A little bit. Like on a serious note, I do feel like it's like I had like a concussion growing up, and then things happen along the way as an adult that like bring the concussion symptoms back after the fact. Because I felt, and like I leave it and you walk out and there's immediate benches the second you're off that ride. And it's like a war zone. And it's like 50-50. People are either going, oh my God, that was great. Or people are like sitting there holding their head, just moaning, looking at the ground, trying to like recover from it.
You paid like 7 figures to do that.
And the lady told me it was safe because the day before the Avatar ride kicked my butt, and I was like, I don't want to feel bad again. What should I do about Guardians of the Galaxy? She's like, oh, that one's not bad at all. I'm like, okay, great. And it started, and it was good. And I'm like, this is awesome. And we made one little like corkscrew turn, and I could like feel my body contorting under like the G-force, whatever. And I'm like, this is not going to end well.
Scrambled your brain.
Yeah,
you should have talked to me. Dramamine. It's the key to doing these rides.
So I never crossed my mind until the middle of the week, and then I couldn't find it when we were like, they don't sell it. At least I couldn't find it in the hotel or on Disney, like on the park property.
Motion sickness medicine is the key. Maggie, when you do this, I'm going to force you to take it. I came out of the Avatar virtual reality. I was green like the Hulk. I am not kidding. I was stone cold. These VR rides are so advanced, and they're not just at Disney; they're everywhere.
Yeah,
they're so crazy. Like. I don't know if you guys have done those rides, but you really can get sick just by what your eyes are seeing.
I'm not great with rides, so certain rides I can do. Like this Guardians ride sounds awful to me, like which sucks. I love Marvel so much, but hearing Bogusch's story, I'm like, oh my gosh, now I can't ride this thing.
I went on a swing set the other day with my kid, and I had to take 5. There's no shot I'm going to be able to do this. All right, well that's awesome. I'm glad you guys had a great time. What are the headlines today, sir?
Connor McDavid received all but 1 vote for Conn Smythe Trophy winner as playoff MVP. If only he had won the Stanley Cup as well.
Sucks. Yeah.
A heartbroken, nearly speechless McDavid after he and the Oilers could not complete the recovery from that 0-3 hole, losing Game 7 in Florida last night 2-1. McDavid might have had their best chance to tie the game, about 7 minutes left, but did not convert. He is the 6th total, second non-goalie to win the Conn Smythe in a losing effort. Meanwhile, the Panthers hoist the cup for the first time ever, thanks to goals from Carter Verhaeghe and Sam Reinhart, and 23 saves from Sergei Bobrovsky. All of this meaning Canada still has not won the cup since 1993. The Oilers were the 7th team to get to the finals in the last 31 years. 5 of them have now lost in Game 7. The other title handed out last night was in Omaha.
Hit high in the air, deep right field. Going back on it. Sorrell at the track, at the wall. That ball is gone. Towering home run just over the fence in right field. Dylan Dreiling.
That's Scott Graham on Westwood 1. Dylan Dreiling giving the Vols a 5-1 lead. Tennessee holding on for a 6-5 decision over Texas A&M in the third and decisive game at the College Baseball World Series. The Vols had never won this national title before. Dodgers lefty Clayton Kershaw shut down for a week at least because of shoulder soreness after his first minor league rehab start. As he comes back from November shoulder surgery, the team says an MRI showed no new issues. The healthy Dodgers blanked the White Sox in Chicago last night 3-0. The Padres rallied for a 7-6 win in 10 over the Nationals after putting Fernando Tatis Jr. on the IL with a stress reaction in his right thigh. He might be out through the All-Star break next month. And the Phillies did something cool last night.
And the pitch. It's broken back. Comebacker. Oh, Nola's got it. Throws to first. That was a catch. Nola throws to first for the second out, and then he throws to third for a triple play. Matt Vierling, that was a low line drive into the glove of Aaron Nola, and it's a 1-3-5 triple play, and what a grin from Aaron Nola as he comes off the mound. That's one way to get out of it.
Maybe it's okay. Scott Fransky on Phil's Radio was so confused. That was the first 1-3-5 triple play since 1929.
Did he undersell that a little bit, the announcer?
I was like, I had trouble following along.
Yeah, he did too.
So did the base runners.
Oh, yeah.
The guy from third base had already gone across home plate going back to the Tigers' dugout when they threw him out of third base.
Okay, so I've only heard this now several times this morning. I've still not seen the play. What was confusing about this?
So it was either the initial confusion was that the pitcher caught the ball on a fly because he caught it low.
Oh, okay. So they didn't know.
They didn't know it was a line drive. Therefore, they didn't know that everybody was getting doubled and tripled off. But it went line drive to the pitcher, threw it to first because that runner had just taken a step or two towards second, but the guy at third just ran home. so that he was out of the play, and they tossed it across the infield for the third out.
But even the players were hesitant. So like Bryce Harper threw the ball too. He's like sort of half through it. He's like, I guess I'm going to throw this. I don't know what's happening here. Everybody was sort of guessing.
Yeah, the catcher is like saying, "Go to third, go to third, go to third," and that's when Bryce finally threw the ball.
Interesting.
Thrilling.
Oh, they won, by the way,
1929, eh? Wow.
The NBA draft comes our way tomorrow night. Maybe you're wondering where Zach Edey will land. The latest rumors say the Blazers could use number 7 on the Purdue Center. T-Wolves head coach Chris Finch has reportedly signed an extension through the 27-28 season, and the Charlotte City Council has approved the $800 million plan to renovate the Panthers Stadium. David Tepper, their owner, is paying just $150 million of that in return for staying in the city through at least 2045.
Ugh. I remember the Edey thing annoyed Perloff a lot yesterday when I told him this news.
Oh, so number 7 pick. That's the equivalent. My understanding, and EJ, you're more of an NBA draftnik than I. The number 7 pick in this draft is equivalent to being a 4th round pick in a normal year. There's only 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Like, this does not mean that Zach Edey is a bona fide NBA star. Even in a normal draft, the number 7 pick, hit or miss. 50-50, he'll even be an impact player.
Yeah, I was a little surprised because even though he got all the accolades in college and they, went to the championship game, lost to UConn, but there was a lot of debate about can Zach Edey play in the NBA or what's his role going to be? And not only is it like, is he going to get drafted? Now it's like he's going to get drafted top 10 probably, maybe even higher than that.
We say Donovan Clingan is a possible number 1 overall pick. He's like 15 to 20 in a normal draft.
You want to know what's interesting about this? So think about the last couple drafts we've had. We've known who the number 1 is going to be. Caitlin Clark, that was a no-brainer. Connor Bedard, no-brainer. We knew about, at the end it got a little weird with Wemby. We knew forever.
Yeah, exactly. And we know it's Cooper Flagg next year in the NBA.
It's kind of odd, and we knew Kayla Williams was going to be number 1 going back for months. So it's kind of odd to have this NBA draft. We really don't know who's going to be number 1, and on top of that, nobody cares.
And in the last 3 days that I've read, every pre-draft, like last minute, big board moves, everything starts with, so this is why you should care about this. Like, here's a reason why you should know who Zachary Rassachet is. Like, it's so, nice. There's begging people to pay attention to these randos.
No, they're like, maybe Atlanta will draft Bronny number 1 overall just to get LeBron. It's like, wow, we are.
What is also wild is someone who tries to follow this stuff, there is no consensus on anything in this draft, which is crazy this late.
Yeah.
Finding who the number 1 pick is, good luck. Finding the top 10, good luck.
Well, considering how Woj and Shams have both been striking out big time in the last couple of days, what are we supposed to expect from our biggest insider?
I did read one definitive sentence yesterday, I forget from where, but it said the floor, or however you want to describe it, that Alex Sarr will not go past the Wizards at number 2.
That's I've heard as well.
Yeah, I guess barring the Bronny to number 1. But like that Sarr is locked into the Wizards if somebody else is the first pick.
And I want to have this guy's head examined because I heard yesterday that he doesn't want to go with Atlanta because he wants to go to the Wizards. Like, what is wrong with you?
Well, you got the Pistons GM there now, so the future's bright.
Yeah,
the first half of that sentence is fine. It's the second half of that sentence.
I mean, what? Why would you ever say that?
I have no idea.
Do that?
Honestly.
Think that?
Especially, I don't know.
Yeah.
The Washington thing, they talk about snake-bitten organizations, and now they have, again, Troy Weaver, so congrats.
Yeah, 14 games. That's how much the Pistons won last year. Anywho, thank you, Bogusch.
My pleasure.
Okay, lots more to do, including JJ Redick met the media yesterday at his introductory press conference, and he gave one answer, and straight up someone there didn't buy it. Just called him out. You'll hear that next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Andrew Bogusch, lost in the fog of golf. Bogusch can't see his way. People are his voice in his ears every day. Tom Brady's glory. It's all too much. Andrew Bogusch needs a break. Bogusch has had enough of Pete. Freedom from Bilotti. That's what Bogusch needs. Pete Bilotti won't leave alone. His voice keeps ringing in his headphones like a drone. Oh, get out of Bogusch's head. Pete Bilotti, can't you see? Bogusch trying to be free in the sea of noise. Let Bogusch find his peace. Oh, get out of Bogusch's head. Pete Bilotti.
3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining.
Sonnets to Tom Glevy's brain. Oh, Glevy's brain, it's on the train. Running through the strategies and games. Peter loves it more each day. Shouts hooray for Glevy's brain. In every game while others cheer for strikes and all the fame. Peter's got his notebook out, jotting insights from the game. Look at the play, what a scheme, he'll loudly exclaim. Who needs a homer when you've got Glevy's brain? Oh, Glevy's brain, it's on the train, fighting through the strategy.
30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Okay, beyond just Florida hoisting the Stanley Cup last night in a really awesome Game 7, Perloff, we also got JJ Redick finally introduced to the media. This has been a Lakers coaching search that's taken a lot of twists and turns, including a detour to Storrs, Connecticut, where they offered a $50 million contract, $70 million, to Dan Hurley. He turned it down, so here we are with JJ Redick. First, let's hear Redick. Can I hear cut one, Amanda? JJ Redick as far as proving people wrong and the doubters wrong,
I don't really have a great answer for your question because I really don't give a like, honestly. I want to coach the Lakers. I want to coach the team. I don't want to dispel anything. I don't. I want to become a great coach in the NBA, and I want to win championships, and I want my players to maximize their careers. That's all I care about.
All right, so this was 40 minutes in. I think everyone was getting a little hangry, a little maybe needed a little water or something, because all of a sudden, after all this like kind of blasé sports speak, corporate speak, buzzword stuff, all of a sudden now he's dropping F-bombs in the middle of the press conference. Perloff, I don't know. What'd you think of this?
It's funny. Actually, I watched a lot of interviews too. I think he actually did pretty good. I feel like the idea of JJ Redick being a head coach of the Lakers seems like less of a joke today than it did yesterday. Not a joke. That's wrong because he's inexperienced. I don't know why. He's normalizing it a little bit for me. Am I crazy?
I think saying even the curse words in some ways felt a little calculated to me. There's nothing, one of the things I think why JJ Redick got really good at doing media stuff is he seemed like, I guess, a little accessible, maybe.
A little unfiltered.
A little unfiltered, right? This to me all seemed calculated from the very beginning to even that F-bomb being dropped. I think that was sending a message to the players or, hey guys, I don't care about the outside, and I'm going to really punctuate that by dropping the only curse words in the entire press conference. I'm going to do that right now, right here. And maybe he's a little doth protest too much. He's definitely very aware of what's being said about him. He admitted that. The dude's just extremely online. So I found it a little just calculated. I found the whole thing very, very stiff. Now,
so you don't believe him when he says it's not about what people say. You just think that's a flat out lie.
Totally.
But by the way, does any of this have any impact on the Lakers? Like, what difference does it make?
Well, that's interesting. So let's talk about the actual Lakers team. And this was JJ Redick talking about LeBron James, obviously, the most important player on this team. They didn't speak until he was offered the job on Thursday.
He didn't provide any advice. LeBron and I did not talk about the Lakers job until Thursday afternoon, about 30 minutes after I was offered the job. And that was very intentional on both our parts. I knew I had an understanding that he did not want to be involved in this. And for me, I didn't want to go down the path of hypotheticals with someone that I consider a friend and someone that I have a great amount of respect for.
Okay, so a couple of things in there. First, you hear an errant, come on, from somebody in the peanut gallery who clearly wasn't buying that they didn't talk about this.
Until Thursday afternoon.
How do we find this truth teller, this Greek chorus sitting?
There was someone in the Twitch chat who said that they saw that it was somebody from the Spectrum channel, it sounds like. I don't know if that's been confirmed, but that someone had said that earlier.
Okay, so there's a press conference, and obviously people are there live asking questions, but they're also running it through a studio show, right? And maybe those guys were on a hot mic, so maybe it was Robert Horry, maybe it was James Worthy. I don't know who was doing the show yesterday. But then he said everyone knew LeBron doesn't want to be involved here. And I find this so silly, this tap dance around whether LeBron's involved, but no matter what, making sure to tell everybody that he's not involved. Rob Pelinka said this twice yesterday, Perloff. He said it once and then punctuated again. LeBron was supportive of the process, but was not involved. Meanwhile, Anthony Davis was heavily involved. Hard not to believe he was just a proxy for LeBron in this whole thing. I don't understand this facade.
Okay, I totally understand what you're saying. I think your instinct's probably right on, but I'm not sure why does it matter because this is JJ Redick's the coach, right? At the end of the day, if it's LeBron's choice or not LeBron's choice, like they're going to have to make this work now. The reason I don't think it matters is I just don't see a situation where JJ Redick's going to be fired before LeBron retires. Like he's not going to get. I mean, LeBron said the other day, he's like, yeah, I'll definitely show bet that because LeBron hinted that this is it next year. I mean. There's a reality here, right? Like, how much longer can he do this? You really think he's going to go like Tom Brady to 45?
I mean, we said that about Brady, and I think that there's a retirement and an unretirement first from LeBron. Like, we haven't even gotten to that process where he does the fake retirement or whatever.
It's just so old for an NBA player.
It is, but Kareem played till he was 40. I mean,
Yeah, and LeBron's 40, and Kareem was the big man who just really didn't have to move much, and it was rough.
No, I know. A different NBA. I
Well,
get
a different style player. Like, I just can't. LeBron's not doing 3 more years. So you're saying you don't think JJ lasts 2 years because 2 years he's out. There's no way LeBron's stepping on the court at 43.
I don't know. You talk with this certainty that I just don't think is true. I mean, you're right. We haven't seen it, but LeBron has been kind of rewriting this as he goes anyway, and he's dedicated. His body's dedicated. I think he knows how to get and pick and choose his spots. So is JJ Redick going to last longer as the Lakers head coach as LeBron is a Lakers player?
I mean, I hope so for JJ Redick.
We'll see. Thank you, EJ Stewart. We got to go. Thank you, Peopleati. Thank you to Amanda. Great job today. Thank you to Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, Weedo's Coffee Drinkers, to Ken Daneyko, who joined us, the 3-time Stanley Cup champion, to Ty Dunne, who told us a little more about Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys. Appreciate you all.
You're in a 5-minute break.